Get home.
So close.
Hello, everyone. Well, now the captions picked up "Go home" so close, so we're fine. There was no threats here.
Murder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another evening of D&D. We are Not Great RPG, and we are here for the Lost Kings of Adoris. I hope you're all doing well on this wonderful Friday evening. Hopefully we'll bring some quality entertainment and positive vibes your way. So
I don't think we've ever failed in that regard, Don.
That's true. I don't think we have.
Or I'll hit you.
Okay. That's positive. He's positive that he's going to do that. So
I'm quite certain.
yeah, but anyway, we're going to go around the table, introduce ourselves, and then I'll read the recap, and we'll pick back up where we left off last
I'm John,
week.
and I'm going to hit him. And play Marcus at the same time.
I'm Sarah. I play Dandelion. I have a cookie in my mouth. So.
I'm Paul, and I play Rin.
I'm Autumn, and I play Twig.
I'm Mike, and I play Mr. Pigeon.
I'm not Lawrence, and I play Shay. We still haven't rolled a 69%.
We're trying.
Well, I haven't.
Yeah.
Don has.
It's going to be this one.
It's going to be nice for Don and not for me. It's not that one.
All right.
I keep rolling 88s.
So, last week, the episode Secrets in Cask and Stone, the party watches as the corpses of the plant-like creatures burn and discuss the strange letter that Shay found on the desk. The letter mentions a tree at home dying and a sapling transplant failing. It doesn't seem meaningful to anyone in the party, so Twig suggests that she and Mr. Pigeon take it so they can ask around the carnival after Mr. Pigeon, points out a line in the letter to Twig. The party theorizes that perhaps this tree refers to something that happened before the forest became a bog, and that the bodies found here might be related to the plant creatures and the large vine creeper that was described in the letter. They continue to explore and discover that in the small back room that appears to have been further hollowed out from the cave, there are casks of ale with multiple lids, one with the crest of Arbor on it and the Amber Hill Brewery, some that have the crest and logo partially sanded off, and a few completed barrels with the crest of Fjordain and the logo for Fjordain's Finest on them. Ren takes two of the old dusty wine bottles and points out to Marcus and Dandelion two sets of initials carved into the stone, VC and WB. They mention that they plan to ask Joseph about the initials as well as the ale, being a man that they trust. Mr. Pigeon inspects more of the room, making the torches brighter, before noticing a strange grouping of vines and leaves in the far corner of the room near the ceiling. As he and Twig approach, the large vine creature lurches its vines forward towards them, attempting to knock them to the floor. The party jumps into battle, taking positions around the room and moving towards this creature. As Dandelion strikes out with her Eldritch energy, the full form of this creature is now in view, twisting gnarled vines like moving snakes, dripping purple liquid, and a large, horrifying, thorn-toothed maw at its center. As Shay, Mr. Pigeon, and Twig attempt to dissect the creature with their blades, Marcus taunts and attempts to smash it with his maul, Ren fires a bolt of blue energy at it, and Dandelion fires bolts of Eldritch energy at it. After Rin's bolts of energy slam into it, a large vine descends from the ceiling, gripping his foot and flipping him upside down, slowly dragging him towards the horrible dripping maw. As the battle continues, the creature drops Rin, instead going for Mr. Pigeon, as it drags him up into the air, partially into the thorny, poisonous mouth. The party continues to slam into this thing with all they have, Twig being grappled by it as well, and flipped upside down, dangling directly in front of its mouth, stabbing her rapier into the center of it as it screams, releasing both Mr. Pigeon and Twig from its grasp, sagging on the ceiling above, lifeless. The party pulls themselves together, tending to their injuries, and sets the beast aflame. Marcus dumps a cask of ale at the center of the runes on the floor, washing them away, tossing a torch into the ale as the party climbs skyward once more, burning the remains of the cavern beneath the well. They head back to Lakemount to tell Nolan what they discovered. Nolan is horrified by their description of the plant creatures that roamed the bottom of the well and pays them 60 gold pieces for cleaning it up. He says that the only VC that he knows would be Valentine Carhart, the fisherman of Lakemount. He also tells them about the archives in Greymore, which the strange letter mentions, the large library and records building inside the capital city. They ask once more about Alice Tull, the girl that had gone missing 4 years ago into the bog while playing with the cows, and he tells her the only clue that was found was one of her shoes tangled in some vines and roots of the trees, along with some boot prints nearby. Shay tells Nolan that he plans to head to Greymore to follow up on this letter and the vine creatures, and that he will drop off the key to his shop on a temporary basis for someone else to take over. Marcus asks further about Fjordain's Finest and the Amber Hill Brewery, the former being based out of Greymore, and Fjordain's premier brewery before the land exchange between Arbor and Fjordain. Amber Hill now serves as the lead brewery, producing a far superior product. Nolan tells Rin that he is unfamiliar with the kingdom of Valinor to the south, and that it does not appear on any of the maps in Lakemount. He instructs him to speak to one of the Dukes of Greymore or the king, depending on if that knowledge is something that interests them. Marcus further inquires about Val, and Nolan tells him that he has been the fisherman for about 30 years, taking over after the previous fisherman retired. He also tells them about Gwendolyn Plimfair, owner of the lower portion of Plimfair Bog and Alistair's Nook, the general store in town. On a picnic 14 years ago, Alistair Plimfair drowned in the river and his body was swept away. Gwendolyn is the daughter of the High Duke of Greymore, coming from a wealthy background. She and Alistair both had money, purchasing part of the forest above Lakemount in order to put on festivals in the area and live a quiet life. The party goes back to see Joseph and have lunch, several fish sandwiches, tea, ale, milk, and water. They speak briefly with Joseph, who thanks them supremely for the extra coin that they give him, telling them that he tries to live his life honorably to live up to Marcus Shaw III and make people happy. They invite him to the carnival to sell some casks of ale and see the show. He happily accepts and they continue eating. They then head to Alistair's Nook, purchasing various things between themselves from the owner, Gwendolyn, an older woman with an above-average quality clothing and fair skin, a golden chain with a locket around her neck that she fiddles with often. She tells them that it was a gift from her late husband before his death. She tells them that she prefers the quiet life after growing up in Greymore, her more wealthy background having made her a target, and the troubles of the larger city never seemed to leave her alone. Marcus asks Gwendolyn about Dandelion's mirror and asks if she knows about elvish construction, which she indicates that she does not, that there are only 2 elves in Lakemount, the co-owner of the tailor shop and owner of the leather workers. She says that despite her husband's death, she tries her best to be happy and see the brighter aspects of life, working with her daughter Charlotte on several crafting projects for the shop. Twig tells her about the Dragonborn that sells candles at the carnival, and she says she will stop by to pick them up during the show this evening. Marcus asks where Charlotte is, and she tells him that she is at the woodcutter's shop picking up scraps for their work. They leave and head to speak with Val, asking him about his initials being carved into the cavern beneath the well. He brings them inside to have some tea as Marcus and Dandelion pet his cat, Snuffles, a big orange fluffy boy. He tells them that he did in fact put his initials down there, being a former ale smuggler with his partner Will Bennett, the other set of initials. He retired about 30 years ago after being ambushed by men with gray hooded cloaks who killed Will and took the product they were smuggling. He knows them as the organization of criminals known as the Gilded Mask, per the golden carnival mask emblazoned on their robes. He barely survived, having been off in the woods at the time of the ambush. He tells them that he grew up in Amber Hill in an orphanage where the owner had the children run communications back and forth between the various crime families in the city in order to pay the orphanage bills, and because they weren't likely to be stopped by guards. After she died, Val worked for one of the crime families, the Bennett family, where he met the love of his life, Adeline Bennett, and his partner in crime, Will Bennett. A few years later, the family, along with Val, was arrested for forgery of documents, mostly bills of sale to aid in smuggling efforts, and put in jail with the exception of Adeline. After he and Will were released, they started their business of smuggling ale and did that for many years before the ambush, storing their ale in the old well. Val tells them that his wife passed 7 years ago of old age peacefully in her sleep. Rin offers to share a bottle of the wine they found in the well, and Val is visibly excited to see the wine again. He thanks them for cleaning up the record of his past and says that he will see them all tonight at the carnival. The party leaves and heads back to Lakemount proper. And that is where we are picking up. You guys are walking out of the fishery back towards Lakemount proper. Where are we heading?
What time is it?
It's getting towards the later parts of the afternoon. It's not quite time for the carnival yet. You guys probably have a little bit of time if you'd like to do something else beforehand.
That's right. I know I wanted to go to the Full House.
Sure. To the granary.
Granary.
Yeah, the Great.
Sure. Everybody,
fine.
nobody opposed? All right, so you guys head directly across from the lake on the left side of Lakemount, across the central square to the lake on the right side of Lakemount, which you can see kind of lazily drifting around as you approach this larger windmill-type building with a large wheel that the lake slowly spins and turns this large granary wheel on the side of this building with a thatched straw roof and fairly simple construction, but it's pretty tall. And you guys walk up to the front of it and you see that the sign on the door, a wooden swinging sign, says grains and loaves. You step inside and you see it's a fairly small building, pretty much akin to the grain building in Ocarina of Time for those of you that have played that. It's a stone interior, kind of stop sign shaped with a large wooden rod coming in the side of it. There's not a man playing an instrument in the corner that's going to teach you the Song of Storms, unfortunately. But yeah, you see a small wooden counter. You can see shelves lined with various loaves of bread. Some that you recognize from the package that you had picked up from Joseph and consumed a small amount of. And you see the two owners of the Tulls, which look to be in their 40s, both humans. She has blonde hair and fairly simple clothing with a large apron, and he is just standing behind, trying to fix something on the counter itself. She looks up towards you. Hello, how can I help all of you?
Hello, are you Mr. and Mrs. Tull?
We are. My name is Letitia. This is my husband, Tom. Hello.
I'll approach them. It's nice to meet you. I received your gift.
Oh, you're
Red.
the emissary. Oh,
I'll
wonderful.
stretch my hand.
Yeah, she reaches her hand out and shakes it, and Tom just kind of nods to you as he bends back down to try to fix whatever he's doing behind the counter.
It was delicious. I appreciate it.
I am very glad to hear that. I hope you'll, give us high remarks to whoever you report back to.
I will indeed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Is there anything that I can help all of you with?
I just wanted to express my gratitude.
Oh, of
I'm
course.
not sure if the others are looking to purchase.
This has the mechanical, the grinder. Going
Yeah,
on.
so the front half of the store, this counter is kind of in the center portion of it, and behind it you can see this large wooden rod coming in through the stone that's turning this large central pillar where all of the flour is being, or all the wheat is being ground into flour to make bread. And you can also see on a shelf behind the counter is a small glass case with a red shoe in it on a little pedestal with a little placard that says Alice on it.
Dandelion's just staring at the grinder. Big eyes.
Bless you.
Oh.
Thank you. Stupid allergies.
Are there any muffins or sweets?
Yeah, they have all kinds of different things. It's mostly breads, but there are some simple little scones and things like that. Nothing too crazy because there's not that many. They don't grow any fruits in the town, so they import some things. So there's some small things, but it's mostly breads. There's some sweet breads, not too many fruit Danish type things.
Yeah, I would point to one of the scones. How much for two?
A copper apiece.
I'll give them 3 copper.
Thank you very much. Hands them over.
Thank you.
Anything for the rest of you? If I can help you with anything, please let me know.
You said you're looking at the grinder?
Just staring at it go.
Mm-hmm. It's been...
On the way in, I was also watching the water wheel.
Mm-hmm. Do you like things that spin, Dandelion?
Is it magic?
Uh,
It's magic, right? Spinning
yes. Water magic.
water
Mhm.
magic.
Yes. The water moves, and there is a thing outside that also moves with the water, and that moves this thing.
Is that the magic circle?
That's
out
the
there?
wheel outside. There were wheels on our caravan that brought us here,
Yes.
and there is a wheel on the building. But the building doesn't move.
That's right. The water in Driftwater Lake spins around and pushes this wheel for our granary.
Kind of like magic. Nature has a magic of its own.
That is true.
Yes.
It smells like bread in here.
It does.
They make bread. Delicious bread, as I've heard Rin say. Would you like some bread? I'm gonna point at the glass case with all the different things inside of it.
Sure.
Just gonna stare at the. Are there any that look prettier than the others?
Oh yeah, there's some with some colored sugary bits on the top of it. The very small colored sugar that doesn't it's not flavored like anything. It's just the small almost firework pattern made out of the
Point
sugar.
to one of those.
Of course, she bends down and pulls it out. Be a copper. Hands it over.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
eat the bread.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you enjoy those. I'm very happy to hear that you enjoyed that. Various other things that we make. We don't do too many things with fruit as we don't grow it here. But if somebody did wish to purchase something for a different kingdom, we could have always import the fruits from the farms to the north. So any baked products that people would like, we're capable of making.
It's good to know.
Doing it a long time.
Thank you.
Of course.
And I'll start to eat one of the scones.
Yeah, they're really good. They're very, again, similar to the rest of the food in this town. Very very fresh and clean food. It all seems, very well made, well cared for.
Mm-hmm. Do you two intend to enjoy the circus this evening?
Oh yes, of course. We've not had a chance to see it yet. We were busy the other evening, tending to a few errands, but yes, we do intend to go there this evening.
Good. Our friends here are two of the talented performers.
Oh, how delightful. What do the two of you do in the show?
I'll curtsy at her and say I'm the trapeze artist, and Mr. Pigeon here's my partner. He's the clown.
I'll bow.
I did pick up on that. I wasn't sure if didn't want to be rude and mention this strange outfit. It could have just been a religious thing or something. I wasn't sure. So that is a relief to know that it is in fact
People do.
something to the
No.
circus.
No, it is definitely
Just
not.
nod.
Very excited to see the two of you in the show this evening.
Ma'am, do you know of a religion that worships clowns?
No, I just assumed it might have been something weird with the lack
Understood.
of color and all. It's a little less fun than some of the more colorful outfits that we've seen other clowns pass through with.
You've seen other clowns?
Yes, and there's been a few other festivals over the years that have brought in some clowns.
Are other clowns different?
Evidently there are more than one
My head no.
clown. Evidently there is only one real clown.
Why would she
I've
lie?
gotten the pleasure of spending
I
some
don't
time
know.
with Mr. Pigeon, and I assure you, he's quite fun.
I'm sorry, Mr. What?
Mr. Pigeon.
Aha.
I'll thaumaturgy some pigeon coos.
And she, ooh, how lovely. That's fun. Is that part of the show? Will there be lots of sounds?
A little shrug.
Okay. That sounds very fun. I'll have to be more aware of the lights and sounds and try not to get startled.
On,
And Tom just kind of says, yeah. She just kind of like shoots him a glance and looks back at you and just smiles.
on top of the spinning, like machinery, just like on one of the posts, I'm gonna use silent image and just a pigeon.
Okay.
It's just
It is behind her.
It's
Mhm.
it's okay.
Okay,
It's
sure.
just,
Yeah, you
it's just going
Yeah,
like
it's just going around. Yeah, so the six of you see a pigeon appear far up towards the ceiling and just sit at the edge of this platform and slowly spin around as the central pillar goes around.
So it's just looks like an
Yep,
ordinary
it's
pigeon?
just slowly rotating around. You see it kind of like morph into existence since
Okay.
you're looking in that direction.
Hmm?
I'm just gonna immediately glance at Dan.
Well, it would be lovely to get to share a drink with you and your husband this evening.
Of course.
At the circus. I believe that most people in town will be there, and I think it is best to get to know everyone together.
Sure, that sounds
Uh,
lovely.
My friend Dandelion and I are new here in town and are struggling to keep all the names to faces.
Understandable.
There are quite a few people here in Lakemount.
Indeed, and we're not even considered a large town, fairly small for the size, considering we're a border town, but
this is a small town.
Evidently.
in comparison to a lot of the larger ones, yes. Greymore is, of course, gigantic, so is Southport. There are some other smaller ones in Fjordan. We are one of the smallest in terms of
This is,
tourist towns. A lot of people passing through, not too many people staying, but
I guess we met a lot of people.
About 8. It's a good number. We'll meet more. Maybe some of those. Maybe some of them will know more about what we're looking for you.
It's true.
We do need to meet people.
We should meet more people.
We should meet more people.
It is a wonderful thing to be able to share stories and a drink with people. It's quite nice to live in a tourist town such as this, with people passing through. Never know who you'll meet. Just
Yes.
kind of gestures to all of you and kind of glances at Mr. Pigeon again before
Good
looking
plan.
back at the rest of you.
Hmm? Yes. Thank you very much for your... You got a scone, right? Or what was the...
It was
It's like
sugar
a
bread.
little
A
like
sugar
sugar
bread?
bread thing, yeah.
Thank you very much for the pastry for my friend here.
Of course.
It's very good.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
It is good, right?
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
And we'll see you tonight.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Marcus, by the way.
Letitia.
Very nice. Shake her hand.
Very nice to make all of your acquaintances.
Nice to meet you as well.
Do I,
Marcus, do I have to
should I
shake your
call
hand?
you anything or just Mr.
Yes.
Emissary?
Yes, you absolutely do
Right.
have to shake her hand.
Of course.
The handshake
Right.
of the bread man and bread lady. They're different. You're gonna have to commit these to memories. Forgive me, my friend here is very new to these areas and is not familiar with the handshake of a bread maiden. I'm gonna wink at her. If you could please demonstrate.
Of course,
It
and
to her.
Tom like pushes himself up also, and I'll be happy to show you the other handshake.
The
of
bread
course.
man.
The bread man, yes.
Thank you.
Of course. And Letitia reaches out and
The
like
gingerbread man.
puts her hands on top of each other. So you just kind of make like a loaf with your hand, and you push the hands together, and then you turn them to the side and you wiggle your fingers.
That's cooking.
Yes, of course.
Now the bread is baked.
That's right.
That's how baking works,
Just
Dandelion.
stare at the bread.
That's how they do it. They shake hands with the oven.
Oh man.
Maybe I can bake too.
And you
Perhaps
can see
someday we'll
Tom's
teach you to bake.
Tom's hands are behind his back, and you see him pull out his hands, and he's got one loaf of bread on each hand shoved into the center of it.
Yep.
Well, the bread man's handshake is a little bit simpler. You put these loaves out, you shove your hands into the other side of the loaf, and we just shake
We should
Like
shake
you're-
this big loaf
like you're
together.
riding a horse.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah. So you'll have to, if you find a bread maker, you will have to either ask to borrow one of their loaves or purchase one to do
Borrow
a
your
handshake.
loaf.
Two of their loaves.
Yes, or a large one will do as well. Whatever is available. But you have to. Very important to, do that with
Is
the
there a
loaves.
different meaning if it's one large loaf instead of two smaller loaves?
One loaf is more for family handshakes. The two loaves is more acquaintances or new folk, of course.
So two
Gotta
loaves
keep
is
the hands
probably
apart.
what you should ask for.
Generally,
It's
yes.
an honor to be offered one.
Oh yes, it's quite an honor indeed.
We'll need to remember that, Dandelion. If a person
Can I-
ever offers us one loaf and is a bread maker, they consider you family.
Am I allowed to continue to make insight checks to see if I'm still believing this? Like I'm.
I feel like you.
Do you want to
have
not believe this?
truly no context to assume otherwise. You wrote your backstory. This is on you. You did this to yourself.
I didn't think that
Oh, you should have.
Yeah. I knew I was.
You
working
gave
with
your
John.
power to me.
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna look at Mr. Pigeon and kind of try to whisper to him.
Are these handshakes real?
Oh my god, you're just as gullible as I am, are you?
He's not for
At this point, it's been so many.
Yep.
I'm not sure anymore.
The NPCs are in on it.
I guess I'll just stare back and slowly nod.
I'm just gonna give you a
think
look.
you mean
Yeah, that's a different handshake.
I'm just gonna kind of glance at Twig. Okay.
Thanks to Mr. Pigeon.
Nod yes.
Is everything all right, young master?
Yes, everything's fine.
Would you like to try the bread maker's
No, thank
handshake?
you.
Tom just holds up the 2 loaves.
No, thanks.
It's very rude. For an emissary.
You
It's
just-
not part of my custom.
Fair enough. We could clap. Smack.
Clap these loaves together, buddy.
I'm just gonna look at it very
Make 'em flat.
seriously. Please don't do that with the bread that we order.
Of
In
course
the
not.
future?
He just sets his loaf hands down the couch.
I imagine
Never,
there's just like
never-
chunks missing from the loaf.
Yeah, never with products that we sell, of course. This is all
Okay,
for-
good-
this
good.
is- these are the show loaves.
What?
At the shows.
Show loaves? Are you with the circus as well?
No.
He's trying to be.
Maybe one day.
Trying to run away? Like,
I want to get out of here.
take me with you. Good to know.
Yes, of course. He just kind of drags his hands slowly off the counter and puts them behind his back.
Just crumbs.
Oh.
You just hear them scraping against the wood.
Just gonna look concerned at him.
I'll see you tonight, and thank you both again.
Of course. I'll have a wonderful day.
Dandelion, I need to get back to assist Joseph with taking the casks of ale.
Mhm.
Would you like to help me carry things?
Yes.
I'm sure
can
you'll
do
be
that.
very good at it. Joseph will appreciate the help. I do not know what the Mr. Pigeon and Twig have to do to prepare for the circus, but Shay, I know you said you have to resolve the issue with your key.
Yes, I need to take care of a couple of things in my shop.
Very good.
Can meet back up with you at the...
Circus.
Yes.
And Rin, I don't know if you are preoccupied before, but a
No,
third set of hands with the casks would be nice.
sure thing.
Very good.
So all of you begin walking out, and Tom raises his hand with the loaf on it. Have a wonderful day.
The pigeon remains until I get 60 feet away from.
Okay. Yes, you walk out as they go back to what they were doing previously. You walk back into Lakemount proper. The 2 of you are heading over to the carnival to begin setting up, I suppose, and then you're heading to your shop. Do you need to...
I don't need
Okay.
a personal thing. I'm just going back
Got
and
it.
preparing the things that I said I'd prepare for
Cool.
Gwendolyn and getting some of my stuff packed for when it's time to leave.
Cool. 2 of you need to talk amongst yourselves, talk to any of the carnival NPCs privately, or...
No, I don't have anything in particular. I
Okay.
just assume it would be going back, fixing
Sure.
makeup, getting it rested, and helping with anything that needs to be set up for the shows.
Sure. Cool. The 3 of you head over to the Silverleaf Inn, and you meet up with Joseph again. You walk inside, and you can see that he has several barrels stacked on a large cart right inside the door. And, welcome, friends. Good to see you again. I hope you had a prosperous rest of your day.
Eventful in some regards, but
I got bread.
Dandelion has
Lovely.
been given the chance to sample the breads here in town.
Very nice.
Has
They're-
enjoyed them very much.
And this, I
Quite
pull out a
lovely.
little ostrich, like figurine.
Oh, that's very, very nice. You got that from the general store, I take it?
It's a strange looking bird.
It is indeed. Never seen one like that personally, but Gwendolyn and Charlotte make some wonderful figurines.
Yes, they do.
Indeed.
Would be happy to assist you, though, with the previously discussed tasks for
Oh, yes, of
transporting
course.
the ales and wines.
It would be lovely if we could just all push the cart together.
Sure.
Got everything set up, and you see there's several casks like kind of stacked on top of each other that are just kind of bound down with some leather straps around the top so they don't tip over.
Very good.
Suppose the 4 of us could just all grab a side and push it across town. It should not be too hard.
No, it doesn't seem as though it would be a very long journey.
No, and he just straps a bag on his back and onward then to the carnival. Guys slowly push this cart outside, and he turns and locks the front door, and well, off we go.
My
Begins
mage hand is just like,
additionally pushing the cart.
it can only carry 10 pounds.
Yeah,
so it's not really doing
yeah.
much.
It's just kind of floating behind at the fingertips, the blue, like, ghostly fingertips just pushing against the side of it. So you guys talk for a few minutes with Joseph, begin pushing that across town, and you see that several people are kind of starting to filter into the carnival grounds proper. Mr. Pigeon, would you like to describe what you are doing and what you look like at the entrance to this fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Take your time.
Sorry, I was responding. to
No,
something.
it's all good.
I'm scared.
All right. So yeah, we're at the front of the fairgrounds as people are coming in.
Yeah,
So-
people are slowly filtering in.
I forget the name of the ticket collector. Was the ticket collector the strongman? Was he frequently out front with?
Let me flip to my notes. Now we'll say that it is. I will. Give me a second. Forgot the ticket collection's an important thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We'll say that this is an old human man named Roderick.
Okay. So yeah, as he is monitoring the front of the line and collecting, I would be dancing around on the sidelines with my illusory duplicate. So there's two of me, and just kind of like dancing and spinning in between people, and periodically making pigeon noises and bowing, or
Mm-hmm.
pulling balloons out of the sleeves and handing them off to like kids or people that look
Mm-hmm.
younger.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just kind of dancing around in the front and being not a distraction, but like a sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So you guys walk up to this fence line and begin pushing the cart forward, and you walk up to this old human man with a long, like bushy gray beard and kind of sun-wrinkled skin. He looks over to you. It's 2 silver per person to get into the show tonight.
Very good. I'll pull out 4 silver for Dandelion and I. 2, please, sir.
Of course, and he has this like large wheel of tickets around his side, and he just rips 2 off and hands them to you.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Enjoy the show.
For you.
Thank you.
There you go.
We need to hold those until we're inside.
Thank you very much. Joseph pulls out 2 silver and hands it to the man. Here
Quite
you go.
like that.
Have a wonderful evening. Good luck with your sales. Oh, thank you very much. You guys slowly crank this cart into the fairgrounds proper. And as you walk in, you can see that this is a fairly expansive space. That on the edge of Lakemount, right up against the lake on the left-hand side of Lakemount, which is the Fisherman's Folly Lake. You can see off to the right-hand side as you walk in is a large red and yellow leather and cloth big top tent against the back fence line. There are several market squares and market stalls kind of scattered around this, fairly dusty dirt area. There's not really any kind of formulated paths or anything. It's just a big open fairground for whatever activities need to be done. You can see that there are some tents around the back side of this top that are kind of like roped off as like private quarters for the cast and crew. And as you walk in, let me pull up my thing here. So you walk Joseph over to one of these market stalls that appears to be open. Not many of them are filled by too many townsfolk. There's a couple people selling various candies and things. But Joseph pushes his cart over to one of the open ones and thank you very much. And he unhurls one of the leather straps around these barrels and grabs one of the casks and just slams it down onto this wooden table in the center of this large fairground.
Yeah. And that's just him unloading all the casks.
Sure. Yeah, you guys set up the casks, and he flips his bag off to the side and begins pulling out like a bunch of wooden mugs and sets them on the front of behind this table on this little shelf behind it. And starts pulling out little placards and setting them on the front of the cask to label what they are, and starts setting up the taps and everything. Very much appreciate the help, my friends. Can I offer you a drink before the show? Free of charge, of course.
Please.
Sure. He pulls out a mug and feel free to fill her up.
Just the one right in front of me.
Sure. Yeah, you dump this like apple ale into your mug, and you get the fragrance of fresh, crisp apples as you.
It does come out looking like milk.
So you smell very crisp apples,
Right.
and just this milk-colored liquid filters out into your mug.
Just gonna look at him.
I'm
gonna taste it.
It tastes like apple ale, and he just looks very confused. I'm very sorry. I can't possibly imagine how that would have gotten in there. I'll need to contact my supplier.
I'll grab one and fill it, and it comes out normal.
Or not. Really foamy, then.
I guess so, and I'll just continue to drink it.
All right. Sure, that's fine. A lot of foam in the top of that, I suppose. Maybe from all the dragging it around, I guess. I hope it's good still.
Tastes good.
Really liquidy foam. Okay. Marcus, for you?
I'm gonna grab a cup and take from one of the wine barrels.
Sure. Yeah, you crack a little bit of wine into this thing, into your mug, and it flows out. It's like a deep red liquid that flows out. Not the same purple plum color that the wine that you found in the cavern was. This is definitively a much pinker color.
Very good.
Thank you again for your assistance. I genuinely really appreciate it. I hope I'll get some nice business from the people here.
Yes, I'm sure you will. I'll make sure that I direct everyone over to your stall.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marcus.
Everyone's going to get tanked tonight, buddy. I hope you're ready for some very interesting NPC conversation.
Sure.
I brought the party.
And he just reaches over and cracks a little bit into one of his mugs and sets it on top of the one of the
I
casks.
gotta get ready.
Oh boy. A lot of foam. Oh boy. Yeah, so you guys are free to meander
Peruse.
about. I'll say that you wander in shortly after as you see them setting up, and you see Mr. Pigeon dancing around. Twig, are you doing anything in particular, or are you just kind of meandering around the campgrounds until you see your friends?
Yeah, I figured I'd be sort of off to the side. Not really doing anything in particular.
Sure.
Getting ready.
Yeah, so I'll say that you and Mr. Pigeon both see your friends start to convene together around Joseph's stall set up in the corner. And I'll describe the activities again that were listed on the chart. There is the axe throwing. There is the sparring ring, and you can see that there is almost a chalk and sand ring that has these posts with lit torches on them kind of scattered around it with rope connecting them off to the far corner. There's a test of strength where you see a large wooden beam going up being supported by these other side beams and a large bell at the top. And around that you see... well, I'll describe the options and then I'll tell you what you'll see when you get there. There is the Dunk the Jester, which is a large wooden barrel with a glass front, and you see somebody sitting on top of it in the far corner. There is the Apple Bobbing. There is the Guess the Mimic game, and the Prayer game, along with Palm Reading, which appears to be closed at the moment, as it is not yet dark.
You said prayer game?
Yes.
Dandelion, there are many games. If any of them seem the most appealing to you, I would be happy to escort you to them. Perhaps apple bobbing? Or test of strength? Just gonna lightly flex when I say that one. I think you would do stellar.
I'm pretty strong.
You are indeed.
I'm not.
You are indeed. Believe.
We'll say Mr. Pigeon and Twig walk over. Shay, you've collected with the group as well. So you're all together again in this fairground.
I'll look at Mr. Pigeon and Twig. What do you suggest we do first? What's the most fun?
I'll glance at you, and then if you don't point at anything, I'm gonna point at Guess the Mimic. In that general direction.
I feel like that sounds quite fun.
What's a mimic?
I don't know. We'll have to guess.
It's kind of like
Clown?
he has a mimic, right?
You
There's
have
two
to.
of him.
Yeah, oh,
They'll both
brother.
nod.
It's a
Possibly.
thing that looks like an object.
We'll give it a
Living
shot.
thing.
A what now?
You know.
Doesn't everything?
Perhaps you'll be good at this.
Yes.
There's only one way to find out.
Yes. After you, Mr. Pigeon.
Is this a mimic?
I'll lead the way. Skip towards the mimic.
Sure. So you walk over to a large triangular-shaped tent that has a large painted sign on it that cruelly has "Guess the Mimic" painted on it. And you see a treasure chest with teeth on the back half of it, and another treasure chest on the other side filled with gold pieces. And you push your way through this kind of magical light lit leather tent, and inside you see. Yes. So you see two elves that look completely identical sitting inside. They both have short, curly brown hair, deep green eyes, fair skin, long pointed ears, fairly slender and long faces. And they're both wearing green leotard uniforms with silver pinstripes and silver frills. The two of you would recognize this as Dax and Dex, the two elvish twins, and they look at you. The one says, "Look, Dex, more customers." "Yes, Dax, indeed there are." And they both say in unison, "How can we help you?"
Dandelion would love to play the game. Once we understand how to play the game, of course.
Okay. And Dex looks over to you and says, "All right, of course. So the way that this works is there are two treasure chests through this curtain behind us. One is a mimic, the other one is a treasure chest. You have to choose which one, and if you guess correctly, you'll move on to the next round. There are 3 rounds. It costs 5 silver to enter, and if you win, you will receive 5 gold.
Would you like to play, Dandelion?
A game of chance.
Are there any other rules?
If you approach and touch the chest, that is the one that you choose.
Okay.
That's it. Don't stab them, break them. Just attempt to open them.
You have to touch them
Mm-hmm.
with your hands.
Yes.
I think I can play.
You have hands.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely play.
Give them 5 silver.
Lovely. They collect your silver and put it in the counter behind them. Right this way. They kind of step aside and hold a large white curtain open, and you see that inside there's a wooden stage with 2 chests, one on the left, one on the right-hand side. The room is padded in a way that it's very hard to hear things from the outside as you step in. The walls are lined with a black, like velvet, and there are 2 torches on either side of the stage, casting an eerie glow onto these wooden chests with gilded locks. Take your pick.
I'm going to cast Mage Hand
Mm-hmm.
and pat the left one.
Okay. So you mage hand and pat the left one. Nothing happens.
Go over and touch the left one.
You touch the left one. Nothing happens. Flip open the lid.
Yes.
You flip open the lid, and inside is a little note that says, "Correct. Not a mimic."
Well done, Dandelion.
I did it.
To the next room. And they walk to the end of this room and hold open a curtain that you did not previously see before behind the stage into another similarly shaped room, this time with a green flame, otherwise identical to the previous one.
I'm going to continue. Once again,
Take your pick. And they both say in unison, "Don't be wrong."
I use my mage hand to open the left one again.
You mage hand and touch and flip open the left one. Nothing happens.
walk over to it.
You look inside and you see a small note that says correct.
I grab the note.
You've guessed correctly again. They walk to the back of the room and pull the curtain open, and you walk inside to this next room, and there is a deep blue flame that casts an almost like ocean glow around this room. It is eerily silent, and very weird that you cannot hear the sounds of the carnival outside. Take your pick. Don't be wrong.
I'm going to use Mage Hand again to open the right one.
You flip open the right chest, and it bites at your mage hand. You've guessed incorrectly.
I'm going to go touch the left one.
That would have been the correct answer, yes.
You said if she approached and touched it, that's the one that you pick. She has approached and touched the left one.
I suppose so.
She did not approach and touch the other.
And they both look puzzled at each other and kind of scratch their heads. Well, no one's done that before. New rules for next time. They hand over 5 gold to you. Congratulations.
Easy money. Do they just look angry now?
No, they're just kind of grinning eerily at you. Would anyone like to try again?
What are the new rules?
No magic, just your hands. Your human or otherwise hands.
I would love to play.
Sure.
I'll pull out 5 silver.
Right this way.
I'll give you one of the gold.
Oh.
If you want to, Now you can play.
Thank you, Dandelion.
Back to the front, and you see a chamber open and pull the 2 chests down into the stage as you walk back out into the main room, and they close the curtain for a moment, and they kind of just look at you as they dance back and forth, and they open the curtain. All right. Guess the mimic. Or not.
Fantastic. I'm going to use Divine Sense. Which one's the mimic?
Thanks for the free gold.
Got him.
So you make it through the... Here you go, sir. We're
Thanks,
going to
buddy.
close now.
Take that, 3 charges. Worth the 5 fucking gold every time.
Well, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your stay.
I'm gonna step outside with everyone else, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We're all leaving. And as we go outside, I'm going to cast Detect Magic. Oh, wait. I think I'd like to play.
Unfortunately, we are closed now.
You bitch!
There's a limit on how many wins per day you see. It's
2.
It's 2.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Unfortunate,
And
but
very
That's a shame.
unfortunate.
a very fair game. You
Thank
have.
God I didn't finish casting it.
Yeah. Yes, we'll have to.
We're very out of money.
Yes, we'll have to. It's fine.
Damn it.
You have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the carnival. Thank you for playing anyway. I hope you had fun.
We swindled carnies. Don't swindle us.
You can't beat me.
Those were very fun games. Do you have any more that you would recommend?
Yes, more suggestions.
Please.
Free gold we can get.
I'm so poor. I bought so much stuff.
How much time until the show starts, actually?
You have probably like an hour.
I guess if it's a little over an hour. Before we do that, I'll look over at you and gesture like that again, and point in the direction of the if they're not getting ready themselves, in the direction of is it Tara?
The Dragonborn?
Yeah, I can't read my own writing.
Yes.
Tara Deep Flame.
Yeah, so he
I would,
is...
if he's there.
Yeah,
doing
he's
his
at
thing.
he's at a stall that you can see there are several candles at.
Yeah, I would point at that if they're looking at you. And then lead the way if you don't say no.
Okay, yeah. Do we need candles?
Somebody did for something, right? We needed candles.
Well, she was
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shopkeep.
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn.
Oh, that's right. We told her about it. She's probably doing it
Gwendolyn's-
herself. Okay,
yeah,
never
Gwendolyn's
mind. I
gonna
forgot
lead us,
we
yeah.
had mentioned it to her and told her she could do it. Okay, never mind then. Yeah, I'll I don't know. I'll point it at axe throwing.
Sure. So you walk over to towards the axe throwing stall, and you can see that there is, this is right next to the test of strength, this large wooden structure that goes up into the air, and you see that there is a large like wooden wall at the back of this open sanded pit with these lanes for the axe to be thrown. There are targets painted on it, and you see a large orc man standing on it, and as you guys are walking kind of in that direction, he looks over. Hey, big boy.
Hello, friend.
Interested in a game?
Of course.
What are the rules?
Depends on which game you're playing. And he points to the axe throwing and the test of strength. Take your pick.
Which would you suggest?
I like the test of strength personally.
All right.
Zarlug the Strong.
What's his name?
Zarlug the Strong. Zharlug. He has rough gray skin. He is bald. He has deep gray, stormy eyes, a large black beard, and fairly prominent tusks. And as he holds his hands up, you can see that there are 2 tribal tattoos, one on each hand, of 2 concentric circles with an X inside of it and a triangular shape above them.
I would love to play either.
All right.
I'll probably be worse at the test of strength, but I'll try anything once.
Sure. Whether free, these games are just for fun.
Very well.
I'll try.
Sure.
Very good. Ladies first. Dandelion.
Step up and he hands you this large wooden mallet.
I will take the wooden mallet.
Take a swing.
Topple backwards.
Oh, shit! How big is the wooden mallet?
It's about as tall as you. We might have a smaller one.
This is fine.
All right. Take your swing. Make a strength check.
I told you to believe, Sarah. The dice always reward me.
That's a nat 20, so a 19.
So you watch as Dandelion just walks up and holds
All
this
of her
thing
momentum
all
as
of
she
her
runs.
momentum, and she stumbles forward a little bit, and the thing goes vroom, and slams into
Like
this
my
platform.
feet lift off the ground.
Yeah, your feet lift off as you get pulled forward by this thing and almost flip over and land on it as the weight of it is just on this thing. And it just rockets up and slams the bell, and he just, holy shit. Fuck have you eaten?
Milk?
Milk,
Makes
some
sense.
tea.
Strong
No.
potion.
Some of that bread from...
As well. And the ales from Joseph.
Oh, that's
That's true.
It's a very diverse diet. The fish from our good friend Val.
fish, ale, milk, and bread. I'll have to remember that.
Yes, I eat all of those things specifically.
Sure.
The ale is here, actually. You
Yes.
can get some.
Oh yeah, I'll have to get some
I'll
after the show.
Point
then.
in the direction of wherever that stall's at.
Yeah, it's like directly across. Wonderful. Anyone else like to try?
Very well done, Dandelion. You should be quite proud.
He pulls out a silver and hands it to you. Congratulations.
I don't think I can do that, but I'll try.
Sure.
I'll hand you.
It's 3.
So you lift the
Roll my
thing up.
sleeves up.
Yeah, would you like to describe how
Get loose.
Like really put on a show and then just
Not proficient in hammers.
Yeah, you just pull it back and you lift it over your shoulder and you just kind of like really get ready and into form and you slam it down and it hits the side of the thing and like bounces onto the dirt and it just
Told
he
you.
looks at you and then looks back at her.
She's very impressive.
You should have what she's having.
Yes, well, she's not from around here, you know?
Built different, I guess.
Very well done, Dandelion.
Marcus can do it.
Yeah, I did call you over, sir.
I could do it.
Sure. Make you a wager. If you beat me, I'll give you 2 silver. If I beat you, 2 silver from you.
Here. I'll hand him the 1 silver that he just...
Oh, thank you, Dandelion. Of course, sir. I have my own hammer.
I just don't. That's fine. Just don't break the damn thing.
No, I wouldn't use this on a thing as this.
Sure.
Very good.
Me first. You first.
You can go first, sir.
Sure. He throws the hammer over his back and gets into like the stance, and he swings this thing down, and it goes about a little over halfway and comes back down. And he looks. It wasn't very impressive, now was it? You'll try then, sir.
Very good. I'm just gonna crack my knuckles. I'm gonna hold a hand over the button.
And he cracks his knuckles too. And
I'm just gonna punch the button.
Sure.
Oh no, those are not Marcus dice. My hubris. Fuck it, we'll go with the pink ones. 6.
Oh
So you walk up and you just slam your fist down onto this thing, and it goes up a little over a quarter of the way and comes back down.
I think you're supposed to use the hammer.
I like the attempt, though.
Sure. We'll give him 2 silver.
Thank you kindly.
Tis a fun game.
It is indeed. Name's Zalog the Strong.
Pleasure to meet you, Zalug.
It's nice to meet you.
Axe throwing require as much strength.
You can do it either way. You can, be a little bit loosey-goosey, dexterous with it. If
Give me an
that's your
example.
thing. Sure. Walks over to the axe throwing stand and pulls an axe out of the table as he rips it out, and he just throws it down. And it goes wide and sails over the top of the thing. Oh, fuck. A moment, please. And you see him start jogging around the back of this thing, and he comes back holding the axe and slams it into the front counter. Anybody that'd like to play?
I'll try.
Sure. Go ahead.
It's an 11.
Sure. So you hurl this thing down, and you catch the edge of one of the targets. You've hit the target at least. Much better than the test of strength, eh?
How many axes are there?
There's 3.
I'll throw another one.
Sure.
It's a 9.
A little bit worse. It's right outside.
It's right outside.
Yeah, right outside.
It's an 18.
You're right off of the center. You the central red circle. Your axe is just around the edge, outside of that circle. It's pretty damn good, my friend. Zarlug, as I said.
What's the handshake of a strong man?
I'll walk up to him. I think I know this one. And I'll put my hand out like this.
And he just, all right then.
No, not that. To clasp. And just
Sure.
clasp his hand like that.
All right. You didn't want to.
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Go ahead, Dandelion.
Oh.
All right, sure.
Strength?
Yeah.
10.
He rolled an 8. You slam his arm down onto the counter.
Doing very well today,
I
Dandelion.
gotta get me some of that fucking milk.
Indeed. Very good milk.
It's very
God.
important.
That is quite impressive for a tiny one.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes strength is not visible.
I should damn well think so. That's scary, that.
Mm-hmm.
My skin.
Is your friend, say, Mr. Pigeon?
No.
Oh, no.
Your strength is intimidating.
The fuck you doing to me? What
I'll
have you
like
brought me?
flex.
Thank God there's not enough other people over here and make me look bad.
Yeah, no, I'll just look around and
Found the strongest person in the fucking town and brought them here to my stall. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should let Dandelion run the stall for a while.
That's alright. I've got my things I've got to take care of before the
She
show.
already ran Guess the Mimic out of town.
That's why Dax and Deck look so pissed. I could see their faces from here.
They really didn't establish the rules well.
They're a bit of a pair, for sure. Those two.
There are 2 of them.
There are 2 of them. Really eerie. I never know which one I'm talking to. They look exactly the fucking same, down to the haircut and the clothes. Fucking impossible, those 2. Done tricks to my breakfast sometimes. I don't like it.
You've had tricks for breakfast?
Yeah,
But
well,
those are for kids.
well, it is, but I try not to tell anyone.
secret.
There's several steps that were required for that to happen, Doc. Pristine.
I have to tell.
What's happened?
That's why my muscles are atrophying.
Gotta get that sponsorship.
Pure sugar for breakfast. It's not a good
I
idea.
have it with the milk, but
Are
it's
you,
just...
are you sure you're not using just water? Because at least the milk would help.
This is probably true. I should probably do that. That might be better, too. It might taste
Silly
better.
Sarlug.
Yeah, silly. So I love tricks are for kids.
Have you tried being a kid?
Well, I'm 40, so no. haven't been one in a long time.
She has a point.
Do you have like a time turner that I could
No,
go
I
and
certainly
be a
don't.
child again, or totally don't? All right.
Nobody knows of one? No. What?
He just kind of like
Do I know of one?
no,
Okay.
and he
worth
just kind of
asking.
sets his hands, and you see these tribal tattoos on the edge of his hands again as he just sets them down. I haven't been a kid in a long time. Obviously, I mean, Dax and Dex are probably the closest, other than. I don't know how raccoons age, but I guess Cucumber maybe.
What?
Pardon me?
What?
We have a raccoon named Cucumber. He sells things. Points over there. And you see a raccoon sitting on top of a wooden barrel with a large wooden plank on the side of it with two little tables in the distance.
Is this a legitimate raccoon?
Yes.
Is the raccoon dressed?
Does he have a hat on?
He's got like a little hat and a bow tie.
I'd like to run over to Cucumber
Sure.
and shake his hand.
Yeah, he just shakes your hand and just kind of squeaks happily at you.
Dandelion.
I was to say, I'll gesture toward Cucumber.
I'm going over towards the raccoon.
Go ahead, Dandelion.
I'm going to crouch down at the stall of this raccoon. I like to think it's really short to the ground.
It's pretty
Like-
short.
like
It's
raccoon
like
size?
it's like a half-size barrel. It's not raccoon size because he's
Okay.
sitting like on top of it. But there's a little sign on the front of it that says Cucumber Stall, and you can see everything 5 silver. And sitting atop this thing, you see a single brass button, a small candle sitting on a silver like candlestick, a single palm-sized disc that is a chalky white color. A bag of 2 pink orbs, and a small glass orb filled with colored smoke. And he just kind of gestures to all of you and chitters a little bit and kind of adjusts his bow tie.
Give him all of your money.
And he just points to the sign below.
All of it.
What am I looking at?
Is there any indication? What's the disc?
He just kind of points at the items and just points at all of you and then points at the sign.
Yes,
What
but
is
which one should I get?
He just gestures to all of them.
Could I do an investigation check on the... Would you say there were orbs in the bag?
Pink orbs.
Yeah, pink orbs. Sure. Yeah, you can do an investigation check.
Oh, baby. It's a 21 with bonus.
Sure. So you can see inscribed on these 2 pink orbs. They look to be a candy of some kind, and there are some runic symbols carved on them that seem like they would activate a spell of some kind.
A spell of some kind.
Mm-hmm. It does not seem malicious in any way. I'll say that you recognize it as the message spell. So with the 21, it's
Here's my
essentially
silver.
it's message gum. So when you chew the gum, you can cast message for an hour.
Give him the silver.
He takes the
Take
5
the
silver and he
pouch.
sets it into the thing and hands you the pouch.
Mhm.
He tips his hat, makes some chittery noises at you, and
What-
adjusts his bow tie again.
What's left? There's the chalk disc.
Yeah,
a
the
button.
chalk disc, a brass button, a candle, and a small glass orb filled with smoke. I'll say that the orb kind of catches your attention, this like shimmery colored smoke.
Between that and the button,
Why not both?
I'll give him gold.
Takes it and puts it into his little pocket and tips his hat
I'll
to you.
point to the button and
He picks up the button with both hands and hands it out to you. And he points to like his non-existent shirt and makes like a sewing motion with the button. And he just chitters at you again.
I don't have a shirt. Like, I guess.
And he
I don't
picks
have
up the
it.
orb and he holds it out. And he shakes it and you see the orb start to sparkle and shimmer. And you see a small bird appear out of a purple, like, colored fey energy on the edge of this wooden thing. And it casts a very, very dim light out from it. And he hands you the orb. And the bird poofs out as he hands it to you.
I'm gonna shake
What
the
animal?
I can choose
Ooh.
a raccoon.
Yeah, you see a small little, like, half-sized raccoon appear next to you made out of, like, a greenish colored energy.
Can I have a hat and a
Yeah.
bow tie?
Mm-hmm. So it's just like a glowing ethereal creature. It casts dim light in a 5-foot area. And you can, have it for however long you like.
While he's showing her the orb, I'd like to use sleight of hand to try and swap 5 silver for the chalk disc.
Sure. Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
18.
He rolled a 1, so you swap 5 silver with the little white disc.
When he's done demonstrating, I'm going to be looking at the disc.
He looks back and just kind of scratches his head, then picks up the silver and puts it in his pocket, tips his hat, and adjusts the thing.
What's this one do?
So he mimics a cracking motion and then makes it look like he's eating something.
What's this one do?
You have no idea.
Yeah, no. Shrug.
Save it for later.
Yeah.
It's very nice to meet you, Mr. Cucumber.
Makes some chittery noises at you and adjusts his hat again. And he points to the candle and then points to the sign. He just kind of blinks and looks at all of you.
Marcus, do you want the candle?
And he points at Mr. Pigeon and just points at the candle.
Shrug and give him 5 silver and grab
Sure.
the candle.
And he just kind of like makes a little laughy, chittery noise and puts it in his pocket and hands you the candle. So you have a candle that can be lit and doesn't, the wax doesn't burn away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Infinite candle.
I'd like to give Cucumber one of my trinkets.
He just kind of holds his hand out as you hand him this little trinket. He just chitters happily at you, and he like fixes it to the front of his bow tie, so that way it's just hanging like a little necklace in front of him.
Pat him on the head.
Marcus, do you have thread?
The red?
I have this button.
And he flips the sign up slowly and sets it down, so that way the stand is now gone. And he hops down from the barrel and goes running off into the carnival.
No, sadly I do not have
Maybe
thread.
you don't need thread. Maybe you just act like you have thread.
I'm gonna try to sew this button, like, try to affix this button to my cloak
Sure. Yeah, you affix this button to your cloak.
with
Without thread.
no
Oh,
thread.
without
She has
thread.
no
I got no
thread.
thread.
Got it. Make a intelligence check to try to like use some of the material on your cloak to fix it on.
Flat 14.
Flat 14? Sure. So you pull a little bit of material off and you sew this button onto your shirt. So it's very shimmery and shiny. You have a +1 to charisma saving throws.
Oh. Charisma. It's my best stat. I'm not complaining, but I can't be intimidated at this point.
So as all of you are standing, you hear someone walk behind you, and you hear a sound, the sound of something falling to the ground behind you.
A sound of something falling?
Yeah, something small falling and like hitting the dirt. Just makes like a
Okay.
noise.
Yeah. Turn and look.
So you see Gwendolyn walking with another person that you do not recognize, and on the ground you see the small figure of her locket that she had around her neck has fallen to the ground off of the necklace.
Does she notice?
She does not notice. She is continuing to walk towards the candle stall, where you see a large dragonborn. The dragonborn is very old. He's got fairly rough scales. He's a deep silver color. The edges are kind of gilded, which is weird for... I guess none of you would have seen a dragonborn, so it might not be weird. But yeah, his body is a silver color. The edge of his scales are kind of shimmery in a gold color.
I was
he
gonna say,
looks
don't you dare
fairly
say
old.
blue. Don't you dare put a Leviathan in front of me.
No.
now. Tarhan, are you here?
Tarhan, you're back! But yeah, he looks fairly old, and you can see that he's just sitting behind this thing and kind of shaping wax into these different candles as Gwendolyn walks towards this stall.
Yeah, I mean, since I noticed she didn't notice, I'll step on over and pick up that locket.
Sure. You pick up this like kind of square-shaped locket with her initials carved into the front of it.
Okay. Yeah, I would look back over at everyone. Friends, our lady friend Gwendolyn lost something. She went this way. I intend to go return it to her.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
I think she would miss that.
Yes, she would. Let's start walking over.
Sure. And as you're walking over, you can see that the clasp on the front end of it is kind of loose. It's kind of like swinging a little bit as if it's not completely like locked.
I would lock it.
Sure. You walk back over to her and you see her talking to this dragonborn man and pointing at several of these candles as he just nods at her and begins grabbing them and putting them into a small sack for her.
When there is a moment like a lull in the conversation between the two individuals, I would then speak up to Gwendolyn.
Sure.
Is Charlotte accompanying her, or is
yes.
she here alone?
Yeah, she's with her, so I will describe
Charlotte.
Charlotte has long, curly auburn hair, and she is kind of standing looking back at the carnival itself, not paying attention to these candles. 16 years old. She has cyan-colored eyes that are filled with a similar kindness and warmth that you saw in Gwendolyn's eyes, but it's also filled with the innocence that only a younger person knows and a brightness that her mother doesn't have anymore. She has round, silver, thin-framed glasses that sit atop a slightly freckled nose and pale yet slightly rosy cheeks. She's about 5'5". She's dressed in a dark green frilled dress with long flowy sleeves, made of a relatively nice material, very similar in quality to the clothing that her mother wears. She just kind of looks at all of you and looks at the clown. She just kind of like claps in your direction and smiles.
I'll give a little bow and pull a balloon out. And I'm gonna try to make can I make a balloon animal with my balloons?
Yeah, sure.
I'll make a little raccoon.
Sure.
Yes.
You make a little balloon raccoon, and she just kind of looks happily at it and just claps again, like a golf clap, very respectfully and quiet, and grins very happily.
I'll hand it over.
Raccoon.
Thank you.
I'll just dance around.
And Gwendolyn hears her talking and looks over and looks at you, handing her a balloon. Oh, hello, friends. Good to see you again.
Yes.
Hello.
You dropped this.
Oh my. Thank you. She takes it. I must have fallen off. I do fiddle with it so much.
Yes. Ensure that it is locked.
Of course.
You might want to.
I'll have to get this repaired.
Yes. If there is a jeweler in town or someone who could assist you with some kind of appropriate tool, I would recommend that you get that clasp looked at.
Yes. The smith will be able to fix it.
Very good.
She pops it into her like one of her pockets.
Hand her the cup of wine.
Oh, thank you so much.
Courtesy of my good friend Joseph.
Very lovely of you. Thank you. And she takes
you're
a
very
sip.
welcome.
It's like, whoa.
I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah, been quite a long day.
Chad gets it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate this very much. And thank the two of you for the tip about these candles. I really appreciate it. I did genuinely need these very much. Your friend Tarek's a very wonderful craftsman.
I'll wink at Tarek.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of winks back at you slowly, his like wrinkled dragonborn eyes looking at you.
Just struggle to wink.
No, just slow. He looks to be.
Falls over and fucking dies.
He just dies right there.
That was it. That was the same.
Tarek.
What's his name? Tarek?
Tarek.
He rolled a 17. He's fine. He's still alive.
He's alive.
Oh
Yeah.
no, not the frightened checks again.
Not the heart attack checks.
No, he looks to be about 70, so he's pretty old. They have similar lifespans to humans, so he's up there.
About as old as Val? Yeah.
Yeah, about as old as Val.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this dragonborn man. Pardon me, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Marcus, and I hear that your name is Tarek.
It is Tarek Deepflame. Good to make your acquaintance.
Beautiful name.
Thank you.
Uh,
My parents gave it to me.
yes. Very powerful name.
I like to think so.
You made the candles for my good friend here, Miss Gwendolyn?
Indeed, I sell candles, participate in the show as well, if you're here to see that and not just play some games.
I'll look at Gwendolyn and Charlotte. Do either of you have any interest in playing games? There are many. My friend Dandelion here has already successfully won at several of them.
He didn't seem very happy.
We were going to try Guess the Mimic, but it's closed now.
Yes, forgive us. We did win, and they seemed a little perturbed.
Tarek just looks over. Y'all won that game?
Twice?
Well, shit, they must have messed it up pretty bad then.
Yes.
Really
is a
should have
game
thought
of-
through their rules better.
Yeah, they're a little bit, you just kind of like, they're a little, loose in the old noggin. They don't have quite the life experience that some older folks have.
Yes, the wisdom.
Not like
Yes.
Cucumber.
I have no idea how old Cucumber is. He could be eternal for all I know. It's entirely possible.
He seemed very wise.
It's possible.
He knew what he wanted.
He
Five
does,
silver.
he does what he wants. He joined the circus a few years ago, traveling with us for about 5 years. Isn't that right, Mr. Pigeon?
I'll nod as I count to 5 on my hand.
And what do you do in the performance?
Fire breather.
Sounds wonderful.
I like to think so. It's pretty nice.
Yes. Well, thank you for your assistance with the Lady Plumfair.
Of course.
Very considerate of you.
Happy to help. I enjoy those that like my candles. I learned a lot about them from the dwarves where I lived.
And where was that?
West side of the continent and the kingdom of Baldir. Way out there. I grew up there. Family were traveling performers till they retired. It can't really be a fire-breathing performer in the kingdom of Dragonborn. It's not exciting, so they went elsewhere. Dwarves are fairly fascinated by the flames and the colors.
Interesting.
They like to get smashed and look at the pretty things, so pretty easy to entertain them.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But now here I am selling my candles and performing, and I get to travel and see the world.
Well, I'm sure Dandelion and I will enjoy your show greatly. And look forward to keeping our eyes out for you specifically, sir.
I appreciate that. I hope you all enjoyed as well. If you need anything else, I wouldn't ask me. I don't do much other than the candles in the show, but I see you've become friends with Mr. Pigeon, so if you need assistance, big talker, that one.
Yes, he is.
Never shuts up.
Yeah, it's
I was-
hard to sleep sometimes.
Wondering, do candle makers have a special handshake that they... I'm gonna wink at him. My friend here is
I didn't even talk to this man.
very new, and I'm trying to teach her the appropriate introductions to different individuals. As a wise man, I'm sure he would be
Of course.
well informed.
Give me a moment. He grabs a hunk of
Dandelion.
wax and sets it on the counter and begins forming it into like a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he holds it up in the air and just lets out a puff of flame as the wax kind of hardens. You see this blue flame erupt from his mouth and harden this wax instantly, and he hands it out. You shake the wax hand. It's safe and sanitary. Social distancing and all that.
What?
Thank you very much,
You're
sir.
very welcome. And he then releases a red flame from his mouth that melts the wax, and he squishes it back into a ball and sets it back on the counter.
It's a beautiful trick, sir.
Thank you.
Very, very endearing. I'm going to look at Gwendolyn and Charlotte. Would you care to join us for some apple bobbing?
Sure.
We're going to go play some more games. Be proud to escort you.
Of course.
How is the wine, my
Oh,
lady?
it's wonderful. Thank you all very much for bringing me this. It's been quite a long day.
Yes, it has.
She
It's
a
going
wine
to get a
mom?
lot longer.
Does she have like a T-shirt that says like one of those, you know, those like, it looks like a travel mug, but it's clearly for alcohol.
Yeah.
It's shaped like a.
It's a go cup.
Yeah, and you just see Tarek pick up like a wax cup and just take a swig out of something and set it down.
Made of wax.
And you see he sees you like looking at the wax cup. Holds alcohol pretty well. It's frozen, so
Was the
Nothing wrong
hand
with it.
cold when he?
It was pretty cold, yeah. And he shoots a deep flame into the air as the alcohol ignites and kind of like lights up the night sky, and everybody just turns and just begins clapping.
Mm-hmm. Do I see, how far are we from Joseph's stall?
Joseph is like around the edge of this area.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably about like 20, 25 feet from him.
Just gonna lean over in the direction of Joseph. Is he busy?
Yeah, there's a lot of people around him, and he's just kind of serving ale to them and handing it and taking money.
Dandelion,
Yes.
that wonderful magical hand that you have,
Yes.
how far does that go? My Lady Gwendolyn, is your cup getting low?
I could do with some more. Sure.
Dandelion.
30 feet.
Uh-huh. Do you mind refilling Gwendolyn's cup?
I only have one hand. I'll just go do it.
Thank you, Dandelion.
Joseph walks up to you. Yeah, go ahead, take some more. And you see him. One for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hands out another cup, and he's very busy. There's pretty much most of the people in the town are here, and some people that have passed through for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring it back.
So, thank you very much. He puts a straw in it now.
Help.
Don't you have a bigger cup?
No, she continues to sip it. And
Mm-hmm.
apple bobbing, you said then?
Yes, I figured that would be an enjoyable task for all of us
And
to...
Tarek just laughs as you mention apple bobbing. Oh, they're gonna be pissed.
Why?
You've already pissed them off once.
Well, I'm sure we'll do great.
I have to learn the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Our rules.
Yeah. Well, you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy the show.
We'll see you later, Tarek.
Have a good one.
I'm going over to Applebob in town.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys walk
Making
over.
sure that Gwendolyn and Charlotte are with us, Don.
Yeah, they're following along. You can see this large, like, wooden pool, and you see Dax and Dex sitting on it, and you two walk over. Their faces, like, drop for a second, and then they smile again.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
The rules for this one?
There are none. You stick your head under the water and attempt to grab an apple. And if you win, you keep the apple.
Get an example?
Sure. And Dax climbs up this little ladder thing and puts his hands behind his back and dunks his face into it and comes up with a green apple between his teeth. Like this.
With your hands behind your back like that?
Yes, you can't use your hands. No
So there
magical
are
hands.
rules.
I suppose so. Yes,
He
you're not just...
said no magical hand.
No magical hands, no magic of any kind, or spirits, or whatever. Skills other than putting your face, humanoid face, into the water and trying to grab an apple out of it with your teeth.
Fair enough.
Those sound like rules.
Yeah.
We didn't have rules. Most people just grab them with their teeth, don't they, Dex? And she looks at him and, yes, they mostly do.
That doesn't seem like a very easy way to get an apple.
Give it a shot, Dandelion. I'm sure you can do it.
Go ahead.
Dandelion.
As their eyes just kind of like twitch a little bit.
Oh, God.
Believe.
Oh, no. Drive them insane.
What skill is this?
Dexterity.
7.
Yeah, you reach your face in and you begin trying to root around into the water, and you come up, you get your teeth on something and you come up with it. Pine cone. But good try.
I'm gonna eat the pine cone.
Monster.
You just crunch into the pine cone and their faces just slack jawed.
This is what I wanted.
Is that what you were? You won, I suppose. Enjoy the pine cone. Anyone else would like to get an apple and not foliage?
Sure, I'll try.
Sure.
Is there anything else in there that I should be worried about?
Probably not.
Knives.
And you watch as Dax walks up to the edge of the thing
Puts it-
and Dex gets behind him and grabs his legs and throws him into the pool and he splashes into it. We'll have to look out for him. And he gets up and just spits the water out. Yes, of course. And he hauls himself over and grabs her and pulls her back into the pool. And they're just now fighting in this pool.
Okay. As they're fighting, I guess I'll just grab an apple.
Sure.
Not with my mouth, with my hands.
And just go, congratulations! And just gets her in a headlock and drags her under the water again.
Start eating an apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pull out 3 apples.
Sure.
Give 1 to Dandelion. Would you like an apple as well?
Yeah, why don't you just grab it with your hand?
Yeah. 100%. I'll give 1 to Gwendolyn and Charlotte.
Charlotte's like, I'd like to try, actually.
Of course, after you.
She walks over and kind of steps up to the edge of the platform, and she reaches her face in and just comes out with a shiny red apple,
It's lovely.
takes a bite out of it, and just kind of shines the end of it and continues to eat it.
The twins still fighting in there?
Oh yeah, they're big time wrestling in this pool.
Mm-hmm.
Has it gone from like playful to malicious at this point?
Yeah, they're like borderline around each other at this point. Like they got each other in headlocks. They're really struggling under the water there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're laughing, but like it's borderline violence.
Perhaps they
at this
should go to
point.
the sparring ring.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Are they okay?
Yes.
Mr. Pigeon, you would be aware that they do this fairly frequently.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't see
This is
face.
par for the course for
Mhm.
for the two of them.
I like them.
Yes, so do I.
They seem nice.
Perhaps we should go dunk the jester? Assuming that is not you,
And they look
Mr.
up and they're
Pigeon?
like, "Oh, for fuck's sake! You want to do that now?"
Yes.
Oh, fuck. And they both hop out of the pool, and Dax walks up and sits on the chair and points to the target below him. Well, go ahead then. And Dex
What
just
are the
smacks it and he falls down into the pool. And he climbs back up. Moment. Pushes the thing back up and climbs back up and sits on it again.
Would you like to do a Dandelion?
Are there any rules on this one?
Yes, there's those small balls there. You throw them at the target from behind the line without using magic, just your arms.
It's a very thorough rules.
It is. It is, yes.
Very well thought out.
Yes, of course. We try our best, and she smacks the thing again as he falls back into the pool. And he just spits water out again and just kind of like really just has in his ears now, and he's just wringing his hair out. And he climbs back up on top of the thing. Go ahead. Dexterity check for whoever wants to do that.
I guess I'll try it.
I think it should be you, Dandelion. Mm-hmm.
19.
Yeah, you smack one of these balls right down the center into this thing, and he goes crashing into the pool, and Dex just kind of laughs.
Do you ever?
Yes, I'm next. It's only fair, and he gets out and points to the chair. You now.
Mm-hmm.
She climbs up, and he's waiting there, and he slaps it, and she falls down into the thing, climbs back out, and she just kind of like, she tries to grab him and pull him into the pool as he's kind of sitting on the edge of it, and he shoves her off and jumps down to the ground and fixes the chair, and she gets up now.
Would you like to go again, Dandelion?
You can try.
Charlotte, would you like to?
Oh, of course, yes. And she picks up one of these balls and kind of like closes one eye and lines it up and hurls it down, and it goes way off to the side and kind of strikes the edge of the pool and bounces away, and Dax runs over and picks it up and takes it back to her. Go ahead, try again.
Very good.
She, same as you, right off the center, and Dex goes falling into the pool as she climbs back up and kind of brushes her brown hair out of her eyes. Just both of them just severely soaked at this point.
Very impressive.
Thank you. I got it in 2.
Yes.
Not so bad.
No, that was very impressive. Gwendolyn, would you like to take a turn?
Sure.
Good. Uh-huh. We're taking somebody axe throw.
Dunk. She gets
God,
not
she
quite
killed
close
him.
to the center, and this time Dex falls in again, and they keep switching back and forth, just kind of like wringing their clothing out every time they do this.
Mm-hmm. Does she look pleased that she
Yeah.
got it? Good.
Quite a fun time.
Very good. Having a good day.
Yes.
I need this.
Quite a wonderful evening. Oh God.
Well, all that's left is the prayer game, palm reading and sparring ring. Anyone
know.
have a preference?
What is a prayer game?
I don't know. You said palm reading was the one that was closed?
Yeah.
That was dark?
Mm-hmm.
Is it still dark?
It's now begun to get pretty close to dark, and you can see that the palm reading is open.
Okay. Well, I think that the prayer game and palm reading are probably more interesting than the sparring ring. Especially as things that I don't know if you've ever done before, Dandelion.
I've never done any of it.
Very good.
I don't think I've sparred. I've never sparred, right?
Would you like to go spar real quick? And then we can go do the other things?
I might be able to do that.
We'll go for a quick spar and onward to prayer game and palm reading.
Sure. So you walk over to this large sandy pit with pillars and rope tied around the edges of it, and you see a about 40s human man with tanned skin. He's got slick back hair tied into a ponytail with a silver band. Fairly slender but muscular frame. He's got a few scars on his arms and hands and walks with a slight limp. Welcome to the sparring ring. Can I interest you in sparring? One of you fight the other?
Certainly.
Are there any rules?
Well, we've got wooden swords here. No magic, just the swords. First to 3 hits.
Sure.
Dandelion, would you like to spar with me?
Yes.
Very good.
He unclips the little fence thing and kind of beckons you in.
Let her go in first.
Sure. And you walk in and he hands you a wooden sword.
Take the sword.
There you go.
Oh, thank
And
you.
sir.
Very good.
Clips the thing and steps outside.
Mm-hmm.
Stand on other sides of the ring, and when you want to begin, begin.
How long is the ring?
It's about 20 feet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll do like a flourish with the...
like tap my shoulder. They don't seem too dense. Shouldn't hurt. No need to hold back, Dandelion. I'm gonna try to bop you on the head.
Yep, go ahead and make an attack roll. You're both making attack rolls on the
Okay.
other.
Attack roll?
Yep.
What are, just
Just a regular attack roll.
With any kind of mod.
Yeah.
Very good.
Whatever your modifier would be normally.
I mean, I don't...
If it's a sword, it's a finesse weapon. If it's a short sword, so you can use your dex. Are you proficient with...
I mean, I got a nat 20.
Very good.
So yeah, you, what did you get?
Shin.
What did you roll?
I'm at 22.
Okay, yeah, so you both hit each other, but she really, wails you in the leg a little bit.
It's a very good hit, Dandelion.
1 hit for both sides.
Try
Good
again.
job.
Yes, you're doing very well. Again, softly boop her on the head.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't do as well that time. So it'd be dex.
Dirty 20.
I do not have proficiency in the finesse weapons, so that's just going to be a 10.
Simple.
Simple? Oh, I do
Yeah,
have
it's
proficiency.
a simple weapon.
Okay, so yeah, so that's going to be 12.
I don't think that'll hit your AC. So you go wide and miss, and he just taps you on the head with the sword. Boop, boop.
Very
The
good
big
try.
one up one.
Very good try, Dandelion. One more round. I'm gonna swing wide.
You can roll a hit.
18.
Yeah, so Marcus swings
Oh.
down and misses your head as you duck a little bit, and it's fairly high above your head, and you smack him in the leg.
It's very close. Almost got you.
Are you holding back?
Oh. Why would you think I was holding back? I tried to hit you in the head just like last time.
I'm going to insight.
Insight, you say?
Yeah. 5. So, that's you're... Okay.
17.
I believe you.
Why would I lie?
I'm doing very well.
He's never lied to you before at all.
Oh, we're doing
23
this
on the
again.
hit.
14.
14 hits because I'm at half armor.
Yeah, so you both smack each other. Well, you've tied, so congratulations, you both win.
See?
And he just
Very
takes out,
even match,
he
Dandy
has
Lion.
another sword and is clapping it against his hand.
Very intriguing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course, Augustus.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I'll shake his hand with the sword.
Oh, thank you. Don't do that with a regular sword.
Yes.
I don't have a regular sword.
Great.
I have this, and I pull out my sling.
I wouldn't do it with that either. Only
Or
these
this.
wooden.
Don't
Okay, only the wooden ones.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, though, sir.
Of course.
It's a very enjoyable time. Give him the sword back and step outside.
Of course. You about ready, Mr. Pigeon? Coming up soon, right?
Look at my non-existent watch. And
Got a bit of time. Feel prepared?
Did you want to spark?
give him a shrug.
See
Nod. Shrug and nod.
Twins are in their normal form tonight.
Yeah, no, vigorous nod.
What do you think, Twig?
Nothing to add on the twins.
Nothing really. Same as usual.
Fair enough. Well, anybody, you all have a wonderful evening. If no one else would like to try sparring.
Twig? Would you care for a round?
Sure.
All right, step on in, and he hands the two swords to you. Go ahead and make your attacks.
14.
Not one.
Bop, bop.
What's your AC, Twig?
15.
Yeah, so you both miss, but your sword, you like stumble forward and it just cracks in half, and Augustus just is like,
Counter attack.
a moment, please, and walks over and picks out another one from a bucket and hands it to you. We'll have to talk about this later, and he picks it up and walks it over.
21.
Yep, go ahead, roll your second one, Twig.
18.
Yeah, you both hit each other. Good hits!
15.
13.
Okay, so Shay hits you, and you swing wide a little bit.
9.
12.
You both swing wide.
7.
15.
Got me.
So you have
2 and 2.
2 and 2. The suspense is killing me. So he's
Gonna
gripping the edge of the
Clap
rope.
with Dandelion.
It's a 9.
13.
No.
You both swing wide again.
Just gonna kind of look at him.
It's a 5.
9.
No.
Sometimes.
We're so good. 22.
There we go.
4.
Yeah, and you both start swinging at each other wildly, and Shay just gets a quick hit on your side. Winner!
You sit down and pant.
Good God.
Mr. Pigeon, you and the young master, perhaps?
Yeah.
Shake
the sleeve.
I'm gonna toss my sword to Mr. Pigeon.
Sure, I'll try to catch it.
Yeah, you grab it as your sleeves kind of billow in the wind a little bit.
I'm gonna roll out underneath the... just like way underground.
I'll just pat Shay on the shoulder. You did
Thank
good.
you, Daddy.
Augustus just looks over. Good try, Twig. You did your best.
I'll sadly walk away.
You're not going to watch Mr. Pigeon fight this strange man?
Not
Young
this
master.
time.
Oh, the young master then.
Just out of breath.
Young master. Young master.
Call him by his title. Put some respect on his name.
Mr. Pigeon versus the young master then.
All right.
Imagine,
I'm gonna activate Blade Song.
Okay.
Okay, assuming I noticed that.
You for sure would.
Okay, we're...
Would he?
I think so.
what does it look like?
To my knowledge, I don't actually do anything.
There's no components or anything?
Not that I know of.
Does the blade look any different?
I actually don't know. I thought nothing. It's kind of just like a
Just a heightened state of focus. I don't
yeah,
know.
kind of
But
just like pulling magical energy in to myself type thing. I don't know though if there's any verbal or somatic because it's not a cast that I know of.
How's it read?
Yeah, it doesn't say that there's a cast of any kind.
How does it read?
Let me pull up the actual.
I'm just curious at this point.
I mean, I have it up here, but I don't know if he's pulling up.
Starting at second level, you can invoke a secret elven magic called the Blade Song, provided that you aren't wearing medium or heavy armor or using a shield. It grants you with supernatural speed, agility, and focus. You can use a bonus action to start the Blade Song, which lasts for a minute. It ends early if you're incapacitated, if you don medium armor or a shield, or if you use two hands to make an attack with a weapon. You can also dismiss the Blade Song at any time you choose. No action required.
Yeah.
And then it just gives you what the blessing is. It doesn't say that there's any component or anything. It's just a heightened state of focus, essentially.
Do you have to sing?
No.
That's a shame.
But how far away are you? How far away
I
is
guess
he?
at the outside of the arena. Yeah, as we walk in, I'll make two of me.
Yeah, so two Mr. Pigeons walk in, each holding a sword.
Is one of them glowing, or is it?
No, they're perfect.
Perfect
copies.
so you're making two more of yourself.
No, they're just one additional.
Oh,
Me
one
and
additional.
a
Okay.
perfect copy of me.
Marcus, is one of them a mimic?
Probably. I would not touch either.
I'm just gonna look at the judge. You said no magic.
I don't know what that is. That's, I don't want to know. Good luck. I'm not in this.
I'm
out. He just dips.
He just leaves.
Yeah, he leaves. We pull out real swords.
I pull out my sickles.
I was gonna say, and I'll be like looking at the long sword, like it's not a sickle.
Yeah.
Poking like where the.
Why isn't it bending?
I'll say that in the thing there are wooden sickles.
Oh sure, I'll grab a
Fuck
wooden
yeah.
sickle.
What? No.
Throw it and
Gouge
grab
your
them.
eyes out, dude. Like fucking fish hooks.
Do you want a different wooden weapon?
No. Stick with the short sword.
Mr. Pigeon just walks out, just whoop, 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 just starts spinning these
I
wooden
so
sickles
wish
with
I
his
took
hands.
mage on you right now. I would just.
You're not aiming for blood, are you?
I mean,
I don't know.
Mr. Pigeon might be.
According to everybody else, I didn't do anything. He just made a second. I'm gonna swing at him.
Yeah, go ahead and make your attacks.
He said it's dex.
No, that's in that one.
So is there a modifier on the weapon as well, or no? It's just dex.
It would just
plus?
be whatever the modifier would be for rolling with your short sword normally.
It is a simple weapon, so if you are
there's
proficient
two.
with simple
Yeah, I was just saying,
weapons
would I
or
use
short
the
swords
effects of the
specifically, you
thing
get your
I'm doing?
proficiency
Like, what?
bonus. If
For
not,
sure.
you
Yeah,
dex
for
or
sure.
sword
Okay.
uses
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm
Well, then I
specifically
get
to
it.
short swords then. So
You are.
yeah.
Cool.
Still
Then
much
yeah,
better
dex
now.
and proficiency.
16.
That misses. I'm over at 19. 19 plus. Oh my god.
Yes, but which one do you hit?
So 24. Yeah. How does this work?
Yeah, how does that work again? How do we rule that? We
There's
ruled
just
that
two
as,
of me. It's
We
if
ruled it
he's-
as that we were rolling. Let me flip back through my.
Yeah, it doesn't give you an official way to resolve it. We just kind of figured it would be like, are they hitting the right target? I don't know how you want to determine if he's hitting the right target.
Yeah, that's
though.
why I thought you cast mirror image.
Yeah, no, it's not actual mirror. It doesn't have the effect of mirror image.
No,
it's
it's
just a
straight
perfect
up a
copy of me
genuine
that's
illusory
next to
copy.
me.
I mean,
So if it's illusory, then I can.
You have to
Does it glow?
activate. You have to.
you'd know after you
Investigate
hit and
check.
didn't hit.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
correct.
So for now, roll a d20. If it's above 10, you hit the duplicate. If it's below 10, you hit Mr. Pigeon.
17.
Okay, so you hit the duplicate. Your weapon goes right through the duplicate, and we'll say for now, like that's ignored now because you know that that's
Mhm.
there.
No
Yeah,
points.
now you
Yeah,
can-
no points. And he's just sitting back like I wasn't involved.
That's terrible.
It sure is.
18.
I got an 8. I got a 1 and a 2.
18.
8. Yeah, it'll hit.
Yeah, you slap him with the wooden sword on the arm.
All right, try again. That's better. That's a 25.
8. Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, so 1-to-1, he yells from like 20 feet away.
Why is he so far back?
He saw the sickles come out. He's not
23.
interested.
That hits. I rolled 10.
Yep.
Very
You got
intense,
slapped
Dandelion.
like in the arm, like a slap bracelet, but just with a sickle.
Ouch.
Ow.
Yeah.
And the last one. 25.
Yeah, that hits. And damn it. I rolled 13.
Just 3 sickles, 3 quick sickles to the arms.
3-1.
Ow.
Winner!
I'll bow.
Oh yeah, I'll pigeon bow and wink.
Oh,
And what?
I've showed you my
Give
sickles.
a
Please
wink.
respond.
A wink?
Wink. As we bow.
Good duel.
And he walks back over. So how'd it go? I wasn't here.
It's a very close fight. Very intense.
Wonderful.
Went to the pigeons.
Yes.
Of course, Mr. Pigeon's fairly good at this.
Yes. Seems quite built for sparring matches.
Indeed.
Very good.
Seems that way. Anyway, you all have a wonderful evening. The show will be beginning shortly.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Of course.
Would anyone else like to accompany us to this prayer game? Think we could do that
It's
first?
right over here. I actually run that as well.
Very good.
He steps to the side and...
Let's go to the prayer game.
Sure, and he walks over to a...
We're sure that Gwendolyn and Charlotte don't want to spot.
Would you like to beat the
I'll
shit
fight
out of your
someone.
daughter?
Who are we fighting?
And I'll point to the old man.
The ticket man.
Yeah, that's who it is.
The fucking ticket dude. Oh my
Yes,
god.
that's who's-
Roger just looked at me.
Is it Roger?
Okay. He shuts the gate for a second and walks over.
She just punches him.
She just kills him.
Doesn't even wait for the bell to ring.
She's not using anything.
I'm so tired every day.
I craft things in this small town. My husband's dead.
That's why I'm trying to do this, dude.
Oh my god. Yeah, so they both...
So her life fucking sucked in the city. She comes out here, her husband dies.
Yeah, so Gwendolyn and Roderick, the ticket man, step into the ring. Yeah, Gwendolyn smacks him in the arm. And he just kind of shuffles back a little bit.
Oh shit!
Excuse me.
Got that drunk strength.
She smacks him in the arm again, and he misses.
Very powerful.
There it
Is
is.
she okay?
Yes, of course.
He smacks her in the arm, and she misses wide and kind of stumbles a little bit.
still
Well,
panting?
okay. She nat 20s and he nat 1s, so she
Catches him like in the
she
jaw.
catches him in the jaw, and he just flips backwards and falls down into the sand. She's she drops the sword and like helps him up. I'm so sorry. And he says, it's all right, ma'am. All part of the fun. He shakes his head and just I'll have a wonderful day. I've got to go collect.
Check his eyes and make sure he doesn't have a concussion.
right.
Yeah, he said, I've got to go collect.
How many fingers? 7.
How many? What are you holding
You
up?
should,
You should
sit
go
down
check
and
out
not sleep.
Joseph's stand. That might help.
Yeah, an ale would be great.
Number 5.
Absolutely.
Several.
Will help with the pain.
I'll pass him 2 silver. It's on me.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pigeon Twig, would you like anything while I'm over there? All right. Have a wonderful evening then.
Shake my head no and give him a little bow as he leaves.
All right. And he walks over and grabs an ale and walks back to start taking tickets. Tickets! And he opens the gate again.
And when Gwendolyn comes out, I'm just gonna clap. It's very impressive.
Thank you. I'm terribly sorry. I
You're
did not
very
mean
strong.
to
Yes.
hit that man in the face. I'm so sorry to the two of you.
It's all part of the fun.
Exactly.
I'll shake my head yes and point at him and give a little clap again.
I would never fight. I would never hurt a clown ever. I'm so sorry for what I've done.
He's very hard to
That's
beat.
terrifying,
Those two.
dude. I feel like this lady hunts clowns.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, dude, like what the fuck?
is she gonna follow us to the next town and murder you?
Super specific. I would never hurt a clown.
She's just
She's really honest when she's drunk.
really
that's all.
scared. Like, this is a weird clown. She's just like, I don't want to get killed in my sleep. I just beat the ticket man to death. I don't know if I've insulted you. Like, I don't know what you did.
Is he your best friend?
You were like dancing around the ticket booth at this point. She's
I don't
like,
know clown customs.
I don't know.
It's a violation of clown
rules.
Enforce his justice.
The hammer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Gwendolyn.
The judge just has a horn instead of a
It
hammer.
has to be this way.
Oh my god, yeah, over to the prayer game.
I'm gonna grab Charlotte's arm
Oh,
and bring her over to the prayer game.
sure. Yeah, so you see Augustus walk over to this crate. Which guard are you looking for?
Pardon me?
Which god are you praying to? And he holds up a bunch of like.
I thought you said guard.
No,
That was-
that's what I thought.
I 100% was like, guard?
I might have said guard.
What?
I thought I said
Are we
god.
looking for the guards? Like,
And he just
uh-oh.
holds up these like wooden placards with symbols of gods painted on them.
Do I see my 3?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna point all 3 of them.
Sure. And he walks out and he just jams them into the ground and pulls this little like curtain around. Go ahead, step inside. He ignites one of the torches around the outside for privacy. Less of a game and more of a prayer station.
Oh.
We advertise it as a game, try to get some of the more religious folks. They're a little bit terrified of carnivals, to be honest. We figured this might be a good way to get them inside and trick them into spending their money.
That's terrible.
Or just
Why did you
enjoying
tell
the show.
me that?
Well,
That's horrible. Trick people into spending their money?
it's not a trick, it's entertainment. They're enjoying their fun, but sometimes people need a little bit of encouragement, you understand?
I understand encouragement.
Yes, it's sorry, I didn't phrase that correctly. It's not
all right.
a trick. It is a legitimate prayer station.
Yes, I can see that.
Yes.
I just... As a man that is built upon my faith,
Of course, it's
I don't take kindly to trickery.
an advertisement to the folks that would not normally be participating in this type of behavior.
Understood. Well, thank you.
Mostly terrified of clowns.
Yes. He's a good man.
Well, yes, of course, I know him quite well. He's wonderful. Why are you shaking your head,
Excuse me?
young master? Was it?
What?
That's what he said. Your name was. I'm sorry if I've offended.
Oh, it's Rin.
Oh,
Young master. He
Young Master
prefers
Ren-
young master.
Take his hand.
Augustus Giles.
I'll step into the prayer curtain room.
Have a good time.
Booth.
Close the curtain. Yeah, go ahead and make a religion check.
Clam.
You make 3 religion checks.
9.
Yeah, I'll let you make 3 because you're doing 3 gods.
12.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly count our way up. 19.
Okay. Yeah, so you see 2 of these. Pick 2 of the 3.
Tormenteer.
Yeah, so you see the 2 of them ignite with a bright white light, and you see their holy symbols appear above them, and a light comes down from the top of this curtain and strikes you, and you feel this holy warmth extend over your body, and you have 5 temporary hit points for 24 hours.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. You get a very like warm, receptive, happy feeling from the gods.
Very good. I'm going to pull out my hammer and pull out my silver gauntlet.
Sure.
And you just pull them all out and just kind of lay them all down on the ground in front of me and place the silver gauntlet on the handle.
Sure. Yeah, and you watch as this holy light just kind of ignites them and shines, almost like as if you were putting a light through like a crystal or a prism, where the light is just kind of spread around this the inside of this curtain and just kind of slowly spins as it reflects off of the gauntlet.
Very good. Yeah. I will, while on my knees, kind of go chest down to the ground and hold my hands over these 2 things.
Sure.
And just say, I am trying, Father. Soon. It will be better. I'll pick them back up.
Yeah, and as you say those words, you feel a warmth, almost like an ocean wave kind of wash over you, a breeze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Clasp them all back onto my back and pick up the silver gauntlet and put it back quietly into my bag and step out.
Sure. Hope you had a good time.
Yes.
Wonderful. Happy to help. Anyone else? Gods?
Gods for sale. Gods here. Gods for sale.
Do I know any of them on the plaques, or?
It's pretty much like all of them. It's just a list of whatever gods they could find. They just painted the symbols onto these wooden signs.
So no.
Yeah. I don't know which ones you would know. I'll say that you recognize one of them. I'll have to think about which god specifically that would be for you, but I'll say that you do recognize a god if you would like to attempt to roll a religion
Just
check
wanted
for
to
that.
know if
Okay.
I recognized any.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on which one that would be.
I don't understand this game.
I, as a man with faith, less a game, more an opportunity for moment of clarity and respite. If you would like to have the same, perhaps too. If you recognize any of these from individuals who you grew up with,
I would only recognize the one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Talia?
Not a god.
Correct, Archer. Yeah, I don't know
It doesn't really matter. It's
Would you also be Shantia? Because like nature?
yeah. That was the one.
That's right.
Shantia?
That's
Okay,
right.
yeah, Shantia then.
Okay. Would you like to try, my dear?
I don't understand the rules.
I could show you, if you would like. We'll take you inside and then leave you to your things.
I'll point at the only one that I.
Yeah, it's a sprig of wheat,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tap it on my shoulder.
Oh,
Yes.
you have the.
Yeah. Yes. She will hear you out, I'm certain.
Of course. Step inside, and he goes and collects the other three and just sets
puts down the
Shantia
one for
down and
Shantia.
walks those out. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Pulls the curtain down.
Typically for me, I place belongings that have been gifted to me, bestowed upon me by the individuals that my faith is bound to. And I'll pull out my maul and my silver gauntlet. These are my inheritance. I do not know whether or not he gave you anything.
I only have this. I take off my necklace, a little, like opalite gem. And I'll put it on the ground.
Yeah, I'll clasp my maul back over my shoulder and put my silver gauntlet away.
Mhm.
And then I take a moment to simply think and see where my thoughts direct me. And if I have any purpose or pursuit of clarity, that is when I ask for guidance. Or give thanks. But it is your decision. And we'll be right outside. We'll step out of the curtain. Close
Sure.
the curtain.
Just sit cross-legged on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Stare at it.
Sure. Go ahead and make a religion check. Ooh.
It's flat.
Yeah.
You're fine.
It's flat 18.
Yeah, so you sit and kind of stare at this thing, and it begins to sputter with a warm, like, greenish light around the symbol.
That is also my,
Casting focus? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean?
Got it. Yeah, so it just begins to ignite with a bright greenish light as above this wooden placard you see a pile of grain and a rose slowly blooming to life over top of it in the air as these vines start, these like ethereal vines begin climbing the curtains, and a bright white light casts down and shines over you, and you feel its warmth wash over you, and you also have 5 temporary hit points for 24 hours. You feel a calm and a comfort. And
I
then
guess it
these
probably remind
vines-
me of home.
Yeah, it reminds you of your home. And these vines begin slowly crawling back down into the symbol, and it poofs out.
Grab my holy symbol. Or my, not holy symbol, my
Yeah.
necklace. Put it on.
What is it that these symbols are on?
What they're of?
Like little
What are
wooden
they on?
placards.
Oh yeah, little wooden placards. It's just like a essentially some 2x4s and then like a post that they're just jamming into the ground.
Sure. I'm gonna grab the one for Tyr.
Sure.
And I can take care of it myself. I'll
Sure,
go in.
absolutely.
And I'm going to not put it in the ground. And
Okay.
I'm instead going to like pull out a dagger and draw a circle on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna prick one of my fingers and put some of my blood in the middle.
Sure.
And I'm gonna pull out some herbs and put that in the middle. And I'm just gonna kneel in front of that.
Sure.
How did it go, Dandelion?
What are you carving into the
It was like home.
into the ground? Just a circle and then the herbs and things?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can tell you what I'm intending to do.
Sure.
It is good to have that comfort.
Mhm.
As I said, it assists me with keeping clear thoughts and remaining resolute in my tasks. Sometimes
Got it.
life is difficult, and when I want to give up, this is what I do to remind myself that the purpose is good.
I have to find the mirror.
Yes, you do. And I will
And I can bring it
accompany
back.
you, and I will bid you farewell.
Yes.
Yes. But it will be good for you to be home.
So as you talk outside, Shay, you carve this circle into the dirt below, and you put a little bit of your blood and some herbs in the center of this thing, and you sit inside or outside the circle?
Outside.
Outside the circle. And you begin to pray. Go ahead and roll a religion check.
It's 11.
Sure. Yeah, so you sit for a moment and you watch as these small white lights begin lining this circle on the ground as the herbs kind of mix with your blood in the center and begin sinking down into the ground below. And eventually this whole circle traces with white light, and the center of this ignites with a white light and slowly fades down to the multicolored disc that you remember in the center of this circle. And you look and it just reflects these colors onto your face, and you feel that warmth coming down from above you, and you feel at peace. And you too have 5 temporary hit points for 24 hours. You feel very calm and centered.
Right on. Pick up the sign and walk back out.
Cool.
Oh yeah, well we're out here. Rin, do you have faith? Where you're from?
Yes.
Of this kind?
Similar.
And Mr. Pigeon and Twig, do either of you?
Before Mr. Pigeon can even say anything, I'll say, "Oh no, we don't. Mr. Pigeon has no god, so neither of us."
You said you have the tattoos, right?
Yes.
Do you have like one for each?
I have Tyr, and then Torm and Shantia are together on my one arm.
Okay.
Because Tyr is the hammer, the war hammer, and the balance scales.
I didn't know if you had more. I guess
I just have those 3. Those are specific to me.
comes back. I'll see if there's a sign for mine.
A symbol? Or?
Yeah, I'll see if there's one. If it's on the
Sure.
placard.
It probably is.
I assume so too. Does Selene have a? Yeah, so I'll
You have
point
the
at.
moon.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll point at the moon symbol for Selene and
Mm-hmm.
nod.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of gods.
There are many here. The world is a very large place. Recognize Selene
Yes.
symbol?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And
Do you want to
Twig,
pray?
you do not?
No.
If you
I'll
want to,
just
you
wave
can.
it. No, I'll just wave at him and
Mm-hmm.
gesture to like the moon and
Mm-hmm.
make it like a later.
Sure.
Before bed.
Privately then for the 2 of you, of course. Understandable. No worries, no worries. Anyway, if there's nothing else I can help you with, I've got to go clean up some things.
No, if you could just direct us to the palm reading tent.
Sure. Just right over there on the outskirts.
Thank
He
you.
points towards the back half against the lake.
Mhm.
There's this large black tent
Mm-hmm.
with 2 torches sitting out front.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a lovely evening.
Of course. Enjoy your evening, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, you too.
As we're en route, I would like to see if I see Val.
Yeah. Also, you see him walking around nursing an ale.
I would approach him. Hello, my friend.
Evening, friends. How are you all?
Having a good time with some of the games. Dandelion's done an impressive job as Miss Gwendolyn.
That's lovely. I've walked around, chatted with some folks, got some ale from Joseph.
Very good. I hope that you're having a wonderful evening.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yes, indeed.
Would you like to come with us? We're going to have this palm reading experience.
I might come sit outside. Not something that super interests me in terms of a little bit spooky, but I'll come wait for y'all out there if you don't mind.
I think a man that has been through the things that you've been through could find some use in knowing.
I'd be scared.
Sometimes courage is the path. Tap the silver hand on my arm.
Make a persuasion check.
Uh-huh. 6.
I'm gonna wait outside, but if I don't hear any screams, I might step in.
Understood. I seek only to assist you in solace and understanding. And that if
Appreciate
this
that.
is something that can offer that, I'll gladly recommend it to you then. But if it seems to be simply a hoax or game, I would not waste your time.
Appreciate that. Well, regardless, I'll follow y'all and wait outside.
Very good.
What do you two think? Is it on the up and up?
Hold on.
All right.
Hold out my palms, like toward the tent.
Mm-hmm.
Are your palms painted white as well?
No. No, it would just be my face.
He's not lying, is he? And he looks at you, Twig.
Mr. Pigeon's not a liar.
All right.
No,
Well, fair enough. Well, I'll come stand outside and see how it goes anyway.
Thank you.
Sure.
Go on over.
Yeah, so you walk over to this dark black tent with these two torches sitting outside of the front of it. And this is kind of a ways from the hustle and bustle from the rest of the carnival over towards the big top tent. And you're kind of, away from everything where you can still obviously hear the people, but it's much quieter and deeper. And you see this grayish curtain in front of the tent entrance that you can push through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll step in first.
Sure. You step inside and you see a small round table covered with a blue, velvet tablecloth and several chairs lining the sides and one chair in front of the table. And on the other side of the table sits a half-elven woman with dark black hair, slightly longer than shoulder length, very pale skin, dark brown eyes, a red silk scarf sits around her neck. She's got a deep blue coat with some golden buttons, and you can't see the lower half of her.
Yeah,
but
the
she
table.
What color
Sits.
eyes did you say she had?
Dark brown.
Dark brown.
The two of you would obviously know that this is Madame Macabre. So you step inside, and she looks to all of you. Welcome, friends. Mr. Pigeon, Twig, you've brought some interesting folks or friends?
Friends.
I'll put up like a 2.
Understood.
What does a 2 mean?
This is the second.
Folks are friends.
Oh, okay.
Not a little
Kill
bit of...
two of
Like on a scale of 1 to 2. There are 2.
I'm insulted. I thought I was a 10.
Also, I was watching when I had wrote this originally, this is when Sarah had sent the TikTok of the fish where it just says very beautiful, very powerful, and I did write that in the description.
Very good.
But yeah, she looks to be in about 40 years old, but very fair skinned. She's
Everyone's
fairly,
like 40
fairly
years
attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's fairly attractive. She's
Hello.
old. You are a child.
Not a child.
You're like
I'm a
19.
man.
I'm a handsome 19-year-old man.
What about every 40-plus-year-old woman we've met so far?
Listen,
how
she
can I-
owns part of Fair Forest. I'm trying to enrich my heritage. I have to think of deeds and lands. I'm a noble knight in medieval times. She's old and dying. She needs an heir. I can provide. And then I own the trees.
She has a 16-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
That's the point.
how can I help all of you this evening?
We've never had a service like this performed?
I can't read this language.
Neither can I.
Pardon my intrusion. I would love to read your palms, dear.
That sounds great. Not nefarious or ominous at all.
Mm-mm.
She
Nice.
shoots a side eye at Mr. Pigeon. Friends? All
I'll
right.
nod.
Come, have a seat.
Sit down. Is there a handshake?
I'm sure she'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
A handshake?
Yeah.
Yes, she's very new here. And everyone in town has, wink at her, been very, very kind about showing her the customs of our lands.
Of course.
We've
Of
had
course.
the bread maker and the fisherman and some
Flail my hand
fisherman.
in.
Yeah.
A very interesting one.
The,
Just gonna shake my head
frog.
at that one.
you know, the
The frog.
Oh my god.
How lovely. My dear, if you wouldn't mind drawing the curtains by the front, please. Thank you.
And I'll close them.
Everything kind of falls to an eerie silence.
It's like an Animal Crossing where the floor turns all celestial and everything. And
I hope so.
I hope not.
Oh, I hope so.
My dear, your hands. You set them on hers, and she pulls them towards her a little bit and begins looking and tracing the lines on your palms. Quite an interesting life you've led, my dear. Traveled far, have we?
yes.
Yet still so far to go.
Very far?
I can't be too specific, but your journey has not reached its end, as I'm sure many of yours has not yet. Very interesting palms, these. Friends?
Not again.
Well, if you are friends of Mr. Pigeon, then you are friends of mine. Your palms say that you will succeed in your journey,
I guess
and
she
you
has
will
one.
have good luck. But you have far to go. She hands your hands back to you. You are very beautiful.
Thank you.
She looks away from you abruptly. Anyone else like to have their palms read?
Just gonna quietly sit down,
Sure.
hold my hands out.
Let us see what Madame Macabre can find in your palms today.
Interesting name.
It's my carnival name.
Curious choice.
It is. It's appropriate if you know the story.
I would like to.
Perhaps later, if we have more time to talk. As I said, if you're friends of Mr. Pigeon and Twig, then you are friends of mine.
I'm sure we can find time to talk.
Certainly. She looks down and begins tracing the lines on your palm. So you feel her very, cold fingers running against your palm.
Mm-hmm.
Tragedy and loss in your past?
In many ways.
See redemption? Succession?
My lie will continue. Just gonna look over at Gwyn.
It has been foretold.
And I see glory. You are destined for great things, young one.
Great things.
Indeed.
Not good.
In what sense?
Great can be on a scale of power.
She looks to read your lines again. I see holiness. Does that help?
In a sense, I would like to be both good and great.
I think that determines and depends on your actions, on your path to succession and glory.
Very well.
But based on your markings, I imagine that will not be too hard for you. A holy man such as yourself.
No, my conquest will be challenging to balance, but I will do what need be done, wherever it takes me.
Well, I wish you luck on your quest.
My people don't believe in luck. My father did not believe in luck. It brought him grave misfortune, and I will not subject myself to the whimsy of luck.
Fair enough.
But thank you.
Well, honor and glory to you then, sir.
And life to you, Madame Macabre. Quietly utilize divine sense.
Mm-hmm.
Celestial fiend, undead, 60 feet, not behind total cover, or anything affected by the Hallow spell.
Damn, you still have another charge?
4.
4.
Mm-hmm.
You do detect some amount of undead.
I'm assuming directly from her, because it does give me...
Got it. Yes, from her
It's
specifically.
the location of, so I mean...
Got it.
Send him her location.
Yeah.
Send me her location, please.
Yeah, you do detect some amount of undead from her.
Okay.
It's not, like,
Sure.
crazy strong,
Yeah,
but...
she's not undead, but I would interpret some sense of reanimation or life bestowed to an individual that had previously lost
Something.
it. Sure.
Yeah, not necessarily that specifically.
Yeah,
but
yeah, just like in
Yeah.
the lines
Yeah, you don't
of
know that she is or is not undead, but it's
something's off about
some
her
weird,
existence.
something is off, yes.
Totally fair. Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of grins at you. Yes.
I would like to look at her palms.
Sure. She holds out her palms to you, and again, you feel the very cold, pale, grayish skin.
Mm-hmm. I see life in your future for you.
I certainly hope so.
I would be remiss if I did not pursue it. And I think you would be as well if you did not pursue yours.
We all have our quests and ways that successes may be brought about. Redemption.
Happy to help. Should you require?
I appreciate that. Perhaps we will speak more after the show this evening.
If you care for wines or ales, I can retrieve some from my good friend Joseph. And just gather all the 40-year-old women in town, Don. Just Marcus having a party.
This is how it begins.
Certainly, that would be
See
lovely.
you then.
Mr. Pigeon, Twig, if you'd like to bring them to our private dining area after the show, I would not be opposed.
I'll give a nod.
That had a feel to it, Mr. Pigeon.
May I?
Of course. Have a seat.
Hit me.
So she sits and you put her palms in her hands, and she begins tracing the lines, and all of you see as she looks puzzled for a second, and she begins moving them over again and begins to trace the lines again as her brow kind of furrows. I'm sorry, I am having trouble reading your palms.
What does that mean?
I don't know, a storied past, perhaps, more than can be contained in the lines?
Interesting.
I'm not quite sure. It's...
I am about to embark on a journey. Perhaps it's just unclear.
might be unclear as to what you wish to do and how you wish to achieve it, but I'm terribly sorry. And she moves it over your hands again, and then just I'm very confused.
Quite alright.
Has not happened before. I'm very sorry.
Perhaps you could try again later.
Sure.
Magic 8 ball.
Yeah.
Try again.
Uncertain.
Does she shake his
It's
palms?
unclear.
Show me.
Come back later.
Send me your location.
Could read your palms, your paws, if you'd like.
Toe beans.
Does it? Is it just
What do the beans
easy?
say?
We read the beans.
The claws come out.
Yeah.
Did you put yours forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you walk over and you sit and you put your big cat paws into her hands, and she kind of traces along the outlines of your cat beans. I see, similar to her, a journey fairly far. You're looking for something? I see trees. Forest, perhaps?
My home. Yeah.
Very interesting beans.
Bean lines.
The bean lines.
A bean reading.
It appears you two have far to go, my dear. But I see success in your path. Should you make the right choices.
You think I'll make it?
I believe. You've made it this far and been traveling with us for 6 months now, and the crowd loves you, so I imagined at some point you will depart and follow your lines. But we're happy to have you while you're here. And you, my dear? Shall I read your palms?
Sure. A bit skeptical. Put my palms out and sit down.
Got that giant glove on one of them, right?
Yeah, I gotta take it off the left hand.
Pull the glove off. You set your hands into her palms and she begins tracing your lines. Started early, did we? Tragedy. Loss.
I'll nod.
You too are traveling far
Indeed.
on a journey. Many of you hoping to accomplish something, it seems. I see storms in your lines. Don't know what that means, but There are storms.
A bit concerning. What do you mean? You don't know what it means?
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but the main line on your hand, your destiny indicates storms. So, that may be good or bad. That depends on your journey and the decisions and the choices that you make. But be aware and keep your eyes out. And remember storms. She lets go of your hands.
All right.
Mr. Pigeon, shall I read your palms?
Sure, I'll approach, and I guess I probably would have gloves on, but I would take them off.
Sure.
sit
And you
there
guys, for the
hold them.
first, did you have gloves on the entire time? Is this the first time they're seeing your hands?
Yeah, I would guess. I was just shit asked
Oh,
earlier
yeah.
if they were painted, but I think I would wear gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
So this is
yeah,
the first time you're seeing his
they would,
actual
but they
hands.
would be unpainted.
Mhm.
Actual.
Yeah, so you now know that he has actual skin that's not.
He has actual skin.
He has color.
Yeah.
It's got real skin.
Yeah, so you see normal colored hands.
Take my gloves off and its hooves.
Human skin. I have skin.
Take off my gloves and I take off my skin.
Yes, you sit down and you put your hands into hers, and she begins tracing your lines. I'll admit I do have a bit of advantage with you, Mr. Pigeon. We've talked a bit about your journey, the things you hope to achieve, the darkness. But you too started tragically. Your lines blur. And they are hard to read. They divide in the center. But they reconvene into a single line. I don't know where you are on your journey, but it appears as though you will have a struggle. But you will find yourself and center your being. So from what I know, I assume you'll be successful in your journey.
Give her a nod.
Very good. She releases your hands.
I'll lean back and put my gloves on.
Had everyone gone?
Yeah. Satisfied?
Never.
Neither am I.
Understood.
How do you do that?
It's a form of magic and divination and perceptions of things from people and reading things about them that minor perceptions that they may not even notice themselves, things that they've become accustomed to, small actions, things that they may do normally that they've forgotten they do at this point. Reactions to words, phrases, twitch of an eye.
A language of sorts.
Indeed.
I don't know any languages like that.
No.
Reading the deeper meaning behind a person's reasons and their thoughts. Discovering what makes them who they are and how they react. It is an interesting skill. My mother taught me, but we will speak more on that later, if there's time, after the show.
Yes. Be nice to join Mr. Pigeon and Twig. And
We-
have them lead us to you.
Sounds perfect.
Yes. Thank you for your help.
Of course. Two of you should be running along now. The show will begin in just a moment, I believe.
I'll give her a bow and go to exit.
She stands, and you see the lower part of her now. She has gray pants, black boots, and she has golded banded cuffs, and she has a sword at her side. Well, I hope that you enjoy the performance.
I'll reach out and try to shake her hand.
Yeah, she reaches out and shakes her hand.
Thank you.
Of course. Happy to help. I hope I've offered some clarity for the long journeys that it seems several of you have ahead.
Put my hands out.
She reaches out and grabs your hands again.
I'm gonna just put my hands on top of hers and
Okay. They're very cold.
I'm like,
Just pushing her hands.
yeah.
This is nice.
I think I got that one.
A secret handshake of sorts.
You did beautifully.
Very good. You've done very well. And again, I'm very sorry.
I think you are.
It's quite alright.
I'll try again later, perhaps.
Perhaps. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Step outside, hold the curtain open for everyone to come outside.
Sure. Yeah, everybody walks outside, and you see Val sitting outside with Charlotte and Gwendolyn, and they're just sitting, and she's just continuing to drink. They're all just sitting around talking. Well, how was it?
Helpful for me. Not a hoax,
She seems very nice.
but your choice. For each of you. I think that there is a sense of solace and comfort. Clarity. But
All right. Well, if you all want to head inside, we'll perhaps try this out and see you inside.
certainly.
All right. See you in there. Save us some seats.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Head over towards the larger tent.
Yeah, so you guys see that everybody is beginning to filter in, and the ticket man is just kind of waving everybody. You see Roderick still a little bit dazed as he's just kind of going through the motions of waving everybody in towards the large central tent off to the side as everybody's filtering in. Joseph catches up with you and walks in with the group of you. Well, we've sold all of the ale,
Lovely,
so that
Joseph.
is wonderful. Have to order more cups, but was a very successful evening. Thank you, friends, very much for the suggestion. I'll have to thank Mr. Pigeon and Twig as well for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
It's good to hear.
Yes. You begin walking into this large tent. You walk through this very large, like triangular opening. And you see a large wooden pole ascending up to the ceiling of this tent as it cascades over, and you see large tight ropes hanging from the ceiling. This large dirt-floored circular area with large wooden risers descending, surrounding this circle where there are several openings. You see a large stage at the back with several openings for things to come out that are separate from the rest of these risers. And you walk inside, you can smell like little bits of smoke as it kind of drifts through the air lazily from the torches cast around that are extended outward to be far enough from the leathers and cloth of this tent. You guys walk in and you walk up the risers and grab your seats and wait a few minutes, and a couple minutes go by.
I would make sure that we hold seats for the other three people who are joining us.
Yep, a few minutes go by and you see the three of them walk in and ascend to the stairs with you and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly was helpful, Marcus. Thank you.
Of course. We'll get Gwendolyn and Charlotte. Did it assist either of you as well?
Possibly.
Some answers may not be obvious at first.
Yes. Seems that way.
But it is something that we'll be happy to talk about with you later if you would like.
Of course.
For now, let's have fun.
Indeed. So you guys sit for a few more minutes, and you see the torchlights slowly begin to fade. And the room goes dark around you. That's not right. Yeah, the room grows dark around you as the smoke lazily drifts through the air. The scent of all of the candy and foods from outside are really the only thing that you can smell outside of this smoke. And you see a bright light, and you see Cucumber on the central stage at the back with a little top hat and a cane, and he walks out and he taps it twice. And he raises it up into the air and spins it around, and the torches slowly begin to spin with flame and ignite brighter and brighter. And then he swings his arm to the side, and the torches poof out, and you are left in blackness again. And then they ignite rapidly, and you hear a deep, deep humming as the room goes dark once more. And you see the figure of Tarek Deepflame walk gingerly through the room, humming just very, very deeply soothing tones. Very similar to what like Ornn in League of Legends does, where it's just very deep, like melodic, almost like dwarven singing, essentially. Just very deep humming. And you see him carrying around his neck several vials of different liquids. And he blows a thin flame into the air after throwing some liquid in front of his mouth, and you see a long green flame descend outward and hover into the air, and then he lets out 4 puffs of red flame that form on the end of it into a large, glowing, fiery flower that stays in the air for a moment before puffing out, and smoke begins to fill the air again. He continues to hum and walks forward and casts several more of these various colored flowers around this room as their figures linger for just a moment, as if made of clouds of some kind, and then they just fade out of existence, casting these vari-colored lights around this space. You feel the heat from these flames, and you watch as he crafts this beautiful, foresty, floral scene for you out of the flames as he begins to hum. And he walks to the center of the ring once more, and he makes one very large flower at the center, where each petal is a different color, which then ignites and bursts, and the humming stops, and these sparkles fall towards the ground.
I'll begin to clap.
Same.
And you see another spotlight come on, and you see the now not wet figures of Dax and Dex walk out and begin sweeping up some things with brooms as they're cleaning up from Tarek's performance, and you see Dex walk over and just swing at Dax's legs as he hops over the broom, and they start flipping around and start attacking each other with these different brooms as they're cleaning up things, and they're balancing themselves on the two as Dax steals the two and puts one on each foot and begins aggressively walking towards Dex standing on top of these brooms as she pulls out several of those wooden swords and grabs a wooden sickle and winks at the two of you behind stage as she just begins attempting to fight this large draconic creature made of mops and brooms as they dance around this carnival central stage. And they begin doing various acrobatic performances, flipping from, spinning around the central stage and essentially just doing some very comedic acrobatic performances as they continue cleaning, and then they run off stage. And you see another light ignite, and you see above the room, standing on the tight ropes, is the figure of Twig in her leotard. If you'd like to describe what you look like again for everybody.
Yeah, I'm in a purple and orange leotard, dark purple cape. I have sort of lace-up gloves that are a maroonish color. My leotard thing is also an orangey maroon. And I got some lace-up boots as well.
Cool. And you see another light, and you hear the sound of pigeons as below her on the ground.
I would be beneath. Well, two of Mr. Pigeon would be beneath her on the ground, each with a bucket that is not big enough to catch her, and, kind of as she does her act, trying to stay under her the best I can.
So you see this fire ignite along the like metal rope that descends from the ceiling in spots, and you watch as Twig just begins stepping deftly between the flames on top of this metal rope as a like snare drum plays in the background as she bounces, and Mr. Pigeon runs back and forth under her with a bucket. The two of them like skipping around and kind of like weaving back and forth like they're going through traffic cones, attending to step under her, and just as she steps backwards they both watch, and you see water sloshing all over the place as they're dancing underneath this rope as Twig just deftly steps between these flames. Looks as if she like almost trips for a second, but then immediately catches herself and spins, and you realize that it was, a planned thing to have her swing under the rope and come back up to the other side. And you watch her leap and grab this central bar and swing across to another rope as Mr. Pigeon just full sprints across the room to try to catch her as the mirror image of Mr. Pigeon just like runs, water sloshing everywhere, coating the ground in just a muddy mess around the arena as they're both slipping and sliding around. And you watch Twig deftly flip off and land on the edge of this other rope, swinging upwards and landing again as everybody just erupts into a roarous applause. And she continues to move across these things, carrying a large like wooden rod to balance herself as she deftly walks along this metal rope. She dives through several hoops of flame, landing below on another rope and swinging back up, just deftly and gracefully moving around this space. Is there anything you'd like to do, Mr. Pigeon, other than that with your balloons or anything else?
Nah, nothing in particular. Just lots of like sideshow stuff, running around wearing the axe.
Sure.
In between, I could definitely pass some balloons out into the stands and make thaumaturgy noises and stuff.
Yeah, so as this act finishes, as everybody erupts into a roar's applause, as Twig spins around this central pillar, landing deftly on the ground and just like putting her claws back into her paws as she just gracefully raises her arms into the air, and everybody just erupts in applause. The two Mr. Pigeons bow, spilling water everywhere. And Twig walks off stage, and Mr. Pigeon, if you'd like to describe your solo thing between acts.
Yeah, I'll just, as they're setting up for the next act, I would just go along the stands, mostly looking for, like, I guess kids or adults that just look like they're actually having, like, their inner child level of good time.
Sure.
And try to pass out balloons, thaumaturgy, some pigeon noises, and use thaumaturgy to do, like, make my eyes glow or create tremors.
Sure.
Just try to give the people that look like they're more into it a more
an experience,
a more real experience.
Yeah, you make the stands under them like shake a little bit with your thaumaturgy and
Disney World,
yeah.
Earthquake.
Yeah, like there's 4D rides or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you essentially just enhance the experience for the people that are having a good time, and you pass out some more balloons, just pulling things out of your sleeve as you're just filling up these balloons with air. And forming them in different shapes and making all these different sounds and effects for the people.
Do you fill the balloons from your sleeves? Do you like hold the balloon and just like?
No, I think I would definitely pull them out of the sleeves, but no, I think I would just blow them.
That'd be amazing. If like
Just got a helium
compressor.
tank.
Oh my god!
Just
sleeves are
emerges
so
from
big.
the sleeve. Nah, I think I would just pull them out and blow in them.
Maybe he's born with it.
Right?
Maybe it's
I
a
like
helium
that.
tank.
Fully inflated before you pull them out.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to pre-prep some balloons.
So you continue to do that, and then you run back as the lights go out once more. And you see on the stage several large objects have been set out, and you see the orc figure of Zarlug walk out into the room as the flames ignite once more, casting a deep glow as you hear the hum of Tarek from back behind him just begin humming again and singing these low sounds as Zarlug just walks up and begins picking up these extremely heavy objects with ease, lifting them over his head, spinning them on one of his hands and lowering them to the ground. He begins balancing these like large tables on each other and standing atop them while holding these extremely heavy objects and bringing them back down as the crowd applauses as he does this. He does this with fairly relative ease. You see he has these two like large stone like spheres that he picks up, one in each hand, and begins just like spinning them around and then trying to catch them as they fall. And just does various feats of strength as he moves around the space very gracefully, never saying a word. And he goes backstage, and you see Dax and Dex come out again and do their cleaning routine again as they just begin fighting each other and tripping each other. Yeah, this time they're dressed in like cleaning uniforms, and they both have really big like black mustaches and white like cleaners caps as they're just dusting around. And then they get past each other and they point at each other and do the Spider-Man thing because they look identical, and they swing the brooms at each other and begin fighting again. And then they go backstage, and you see Augustus come out with a bow and a quiver on his back, and you see a target set up far in the sky, and he leans back and pulls one of these arrows back from across the room, and he shoots it, and you see another arrow come out from backstage as it gets hit with another one out of the air, and you see Dax just like chuckling very aggressively, and Augustus just looking really unappreciated and upset as he then knocks another one of these arrows and right into the center of this thing. And he begins shooting various things around the room as they ignite with sparkles as he hits them, and ignites with these small lights and fireworks as they cascade down into the space, casting this eerie light around the space. And then he pulls out a sword and begins fighting these little target dummies, and then Dax and Dex step out from two of them, and the three of them begin fighting each other, him using these various wooden swords or like fake metal swords, and the two of them using mops and brooms as they just essentially faux fight with him. And then the light goes out again and they walk backstage. And Tara comes out once more and hums again and does these additional floral shapes made of fire in the arena. And he does this for a few more moments, kind of concluding things as the final shape illuminates in this extremely large floral like rose in the center of the thing, with a large green flame rocketing up the center pillar as it ignites with red flame at the top of the pillar, and the lights go out. And you hear nothing for a moment, and then you see the figure of Cucumber standing on the stage in his little top hat with his cane, and he just taps it in and he just waves at everybody.
I wave.
Mm-hmm.
He just taps it and the lights go out again, and they come back on in full, like at the end of a movie when all the lights come back on and everything is gone. You see the smoke kind of drifting out through the top of the curtain.
That was lovely.
I like that.
It's very pretty, very bright. Probably a lot like home.
A lot of fire.
Yes.
A lot of fire.
Dangerous, but well managed. It's very...
I was worried for Twig.
She was very high up. She seems to be an expert at this.
I don't think if she felt she was going to fit in the bucket, though.
Maybe it's a magic bucket.
Could be a magic bucket.
Could be a magic twig. Twigs can be magic. Maybe you should ask. Or ask Mr. Pigeon if the bucket is magic. Could be it could be both.
It could be both.
Could be both. We'll have to ask them when we see them after the show.
Yes.
Cool. So you guys wait around for a few moments as everybody begins to filter out. About 10-15 minutes go by and you see the figure of Mr. Pigeon and Twig come out from backstage, having, finished your kind of clean up and cool down routine. And you see your friends sitting in the stands alone, with Val and
Gwendolyn and Charlotte.
Gwendolyn and Charlotte.
Alone together.
Alone, but not at all.
And with the group.
I'll make our way over. Give a little bow.
Clap.
That was so lovely.
It was very
yes,
good.
that was fantastic.
That was tremendous.
You all did wonderful.
Is your bucket magic?
Both buckets? Very impressive.
Aggressively nodding.
Yeah.
Yep.
That must be a very useful bucket.
Yes.
Has she ever needed it? Very good.
Fantastic.
Twig, that was wonderful how you danced on those flaming ropes. That was terrifying.
Thank you.
Very dangerous.
Curtsy. Do a little.
Very wonderful. And the routine that you did, Mr. Pigeon, was very impressive and not terrifying at all.
I'll nod gently.
Does she still seem
less on edge than before. It didn't seem terrifying, but a little bit terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
She's also a little bit more drunk than she was earlier, so there's definitely less recognition of the fact that you're a colorless clown.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Pigeon, Madame Macabre said something of a dinner after the show.
Yeah. I'll nod and point. I assume in the correct direction. I would know where it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll point back and a gesture that I'll lead the way. The butler this way.
Stage left or right?
Wait, what?
Is it stage left or right?
It's both behind the
Stage left and
Stage,
right.
yes.
stage
Could be
left,
both.
stage, yes.
Yeah, stage yes. All right.
Yeah, so you guys walk.
Real quick,
Sure.
before, while the crowd was dispersing,
Mhm.
if Joseph was still in the area, knowing that he said all of his stuff had sold out, I would have asked Joseph if he would also like to join us for dinner.
Sure, yeah, he's there
Okay.
with you then for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
Lead
you
my
guys.
4 NPC army back
Uh-huh.
to this lovely dinner. Come with me, drunkards. Come with me.
Yes, you guys descend these wooden
Call me your
risers.
king.
Call me your last hope.
Primed for fighting.
Yes, you guys descend these wooden risers and begin walking over this dirt floor. And behind the stage, around the back, and you see Cucumber just sitting outside, just playing with a silver coin as he just kind of flips it up and down in his hands. He just waves at all of you and chirps happily. Tips his hat, fixes his bow tie, and then follows you guys into the eating area, which you see behind this. You are now in this roped off area that you had seen before, where the private tents are. You see a larger black tent over in the corner with a torch outside, and then you see the largest of these tents is a large gray patterned tent that is similar to how the blacktop is, just much smaller. It's not like a triangular like sleeping tent. And you walk inside and you see several of the carnival folk sitting inside, and Cucumber just kind of beckons to the seats for you guys to sit at this large wooden table. It's like a deep, rich wooden table.
What shape is this table?
It's rectangular.
It's a long rectangle.
Yeah, it's a long rectangular one.
Yeah.
Like a large, cafeteria style.
I would pull out 5 chairs for my companions.
Sure.
Back in a chair to each of them.
And they thank you very much. And they all sit.
Very good. Dandelion.
Chair.
Yeah. So I'll say that you're like back and forth across the table, so that way you guys can see each other. So it's the 6 of you, Joseph, Val, Gwendolyn, and Charlotte. Cool. So you guys are all sitting at this table, and you see several of the other people kind of standing around and collecting their thoughts, and before they come sit down for dinner. And you feel a breeze blow in through this open curtain as Madame Macabre walks in and flips the curtain down and says, "Well, everyone, it's time for dinner." And we're going to pick up there next week.
All right.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, let's everybody wave hands in the air. Thank you guys very much for watching tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Shadow, thank you very much for the resub. I didn't see it earlier, but thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you follow us. You can find us again. We stream D&D 3 times a week on this channel. You can check out our website, notgreatrpg.com. For more information about us, we have information about our sponsors that we have, where we have different coupon codes. We have links to our podcasts. We have links to all of our previous VODs, as well as text recaps for the campaigns. But yeah, thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next Tuesday. Nope, sorry, we'll see you Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the Veiled Forests of
I
Orvigo.
actually said see you next Tuesday.
Did I?
Very well done.
See you Sunday at 5 o'clock. Good night, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night.
Bye.